that's the other thing. I swear I'm the healthy one. I kid you not. It's unreal. It's hysterical in a very twisted way.
Right. One and 3 last night.
Yeah, we had bad second halves. UCF down 2 at the half. Vandy down 2 at the half. They're both getting a bunch of points. They both collapsed on us. We said it. We were just hoping for a 2-2. We felt really good about K-State.
Yep. No, you were all over that.
But yep.
I'm watching Vandy keep up, but Auburn was angry, David.
Yeah, well, and we said going in, we go, too many of these teams have lost recently. This is not ideal. By the way, your team needs to snap out of it.
Well, Bobby Regan said it. They hadn't played anybody.
Well, and the inability to score is coming back to bite them.
Well, and he's got that freshman that, Mike Miller talked about. That Richardson kid can play, but he doesn't run an offense for one guy.
Never has.
Unless that guy's his point guard.
Unless it's Mateen, right? At which point Mateen said, hey, I'll run the offense. We'll take care of it. But the symmetry could have passed Bobby Knight against Indiana.
Oh, I know. Had, what's his face in the house showed up for it, Mariucci?
And Mike Woodson said, I'm going to win one for the old man. They had like a week where it looked like they weren't playing for him, but for the most part, those kids have played for Woodson. They're just a little flawed. The big fella has to play. He's got to produce for them. How about the UConn kid last night? McNeely? 38-10.
Ouch, that's a night.
At Creighton. Did you see Hurley walking off the court? Waving to the fans because dollar beer night at Creighton. They wanted the crowd as amped as possible. Dollar beer night for UConn. Crowd's nuts. The chants against Hurley and UConn all night. He's walking off the court. He's waving to him, and he goes, 2. Points his ring finger, 2. Bye.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this hump day. Let's get over it together. Hope your week's going well. Thanks for being with us. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We're so glad that you're with us. Mark, at halftime last night, our system is the best damn system in the world. I mean, honestly, I don't know if anybody's come up with a gambling system in a sport better than the Miller and Moulton system on college basketball.
You sure about that?
At halftime?
At halftime,
our beloved underdogs at home, they were right there. And they usually play better in the second half. It's just a matter of them not getting whacked in the first half. We got UCF getting a whole bunch of points, down 1 at the half? All right, we got Vandy getting a whole bunch of points, down 2 at the half. It's like, oh my goodness, we are going to, and we said it. We had K-State in our back pocket. Okay, of our 4 system plays, K-State was the last one to tip off. We told you they're going to win straight up. That put that one away. So we knew going into the night the worst we could do was 1-3. Mark, where do we go?
1-3, David.
Golly,
1-3.
Come on, boys! It's 40 minutes. There, 2 halves. Just UCF needed that one too. They're a bubble team. All right. They needed that one against Iowa State. So, yep. System once again during the week. The system is, man, right around 500 Monday through Friday, and then we just print money on Saturdays. But off to a sluggish 1-3 start with the system.
You know who wasn't off to a sluggish start last night? The Florida Gators.
Well, and then Mississippi State caught up, and that was another one. That was what, 1 point game at the half?
1 point at the half.
Did you
Gators
see?
were down.
Did you see how they opened the second half?
Yeah.
25-4.
That's a way to start a half.
Damn. On
Without
the
a couple
road.
of players. They were without one player to start the game. They lost another player early in the game.
Yep.
We've talked about the lack of depth on this Gator team.
They're an 8-man team. They were down to about 6 last night, midway through the game.
Went into Mississippi State and whacked them.
You take your cowbells. Go home with those.
Gators keep playing better and better. Look out for the Florida Gators, everyone.
Well, the elite teams in the SEC last night looked elite. They did. Not sure Tennessee's an elite team. I
was
you know
gonna
me.
say, Tennessee didn't look elite last night.
You know me with Rick Barnes.
But
just,
Rick Barnes elite, David. If he's elite, it's in the regular season.
Yeah, I know, but they were going to Kentucky last night. Kentucky's been scuffed. I don't know. I wasn't expecting much out of Tennessee last night. Plus, I just can't believe in him and them. Prove me wrong. They made it to a region final last year. He's had a little more tournament success at Tennessee than at Clemson and Texas, but
it's kind of funny when Tennessee scuffles. It's largely because the UNF kid Lanier struggles.
Did you see what Barnes did with him the other day? He benched him.
Yeah, we talked about it briefly on the show. Do you know why he benched him? For not shooting.
Right.
He drew up a play out of a timeout for Lanier to shoot. Lanier didn't shoot, and he benched him. And furthermore, in the press conference, he went on to say why he benched him. That's what we pay him to do.
And what's great is now that's literally the truth. We pay him to shoot. If he's not going to shoot, I'm not going to play him. And you're like, well, that's true, coach. You are paying him.
They lost by 11. He was 0 of 7 beyond the arc last night.
That's a problem. It hit 2 or 3 of those, and we got ourselves a game. But another good night of college hoops. Good night of the Big Ten. Good night in the Big Ten. Michigan says, we'll take over first, thank you. While you guys are talking about Purdue and Michigan State, if it's okay if we take over first place, thank you. And speaking of Michigan State, how about Mike Woodson winning one for the General? Tom Izzo's going to eclipse Bobby Knight as the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten history. He was supposed to do it last night against Indiana. And Mike Woodson, the Hoosiers, said, win a one for the old guy. Win a one for the old man. He's watching. Oh, trust me, he's watching. All right. No. We're going to win one for him. It's funny how sports works, huh?
It is. And Michigan got blown out by Purdue at Purdue a couple weeks ago. And
yeah,
they looked as if there was points they were going to get blown out in the first half yesterday. But kept at it and kept at it and kept at it, and then put a strong second half together, and Michigan took down Purdue.
So, good night of college hoop last night. Good night of college hoop. There's a small college sports story that could become bigger if people want to make it bigger. Did you see the story in The Athletic? Mark, the Freedom of Information Act can really be helpful to the media and to the public at large. It's kind of why we have it. The Tampa Bay Times, I don't know if they did it out of a lark. I don't know if they did it at a gut feeling, but the Tampa Bay Times did 3 years ago a Freedom of Information Act about North Carolina. And they just wanted to see if the athletic department was, I don't know, trying to go down the same path as Florida State and Clemson. And they uncovered some documents. And then the Athletic got some people to go on the record who shouldn't be talking on the record. And Mark, North Carolina is definitely poised to leave the ACC. I mean, that's what those documents and those quotes in the Athletic tell you. In fact, the guys quoted, and it's in an email even, in which they say, let Florida State and Clemson pay and do all the dirty work. And there's a quote from the #1 booster at the University of North Carolina, the guy who is mostly responsible for making Bill Belichick their football coach, in which he described the ACC as a conference in decline.
Not just in decline, in financial decline.
And then I believe there is a quote. I don't know if it's in an email or if it's just a quote from one of the two sources gave to the Athletic, in which they said, oh, trust me, between the Big Ten and the SEC, we have a home. We're good. I mean, the North Carolina people are like, yeah, we're not Florida State or Clemson, in which, they got to try to, throw their elbows around and try to. No, we're good. We're good. We're not going to have a problem.
I liked the code name.
Well, and
Carolina Blue Matter.
Carolina
That was
Blue
the code
Matter.
name for all the work that this legal agency was doing for the University of North Carolina.
You do know I only think of two code names. I think of Deep Throat from Watergate, and I think
Blue Horseshoe
in the movie Wall Street. Right? It's the only.
I know.
Every time I hear a code name, I go, Blue Horseshoe loves Anacott Steel. Run with it. What's that again? Is it Operation Carolina
Blue Matter?
Carolina Blue Matter.
Exactly.
I gotta admit, they could have done better than that. Don't you think? Or your code name, the Carolina Blue Matter? I don't know. I think they could have done better than that.
I'm not worried about how good the code name was, David.
I know.
I like the fact that there was a code name
right
between a university and a law firm, and that law firm was exploring ways for that school to get out of its grant of rights deal with the conference.
Well, they were just looking into it, and so they've spent around $600,000. I mean, they're not all in on getting out of the ACC. They're kicking the tires. They're just peeking around the corner.
David, when you hire the divorce lawyer, it's one thing. When you pay the retainer for the divorce lawyer, it seems that the proceedings are moving a little more quickly.
Well, it just seems to me, Mark, as if maybe they've drawn up the papers. And every now and then the law firm calls them and says, do you want to push these papers through? And they go, no, not yet. We're getting along a little better these days.
And it's funny, with all of the conference realignment that's gone on in the past however many years, North Carolina is the one school that is thought to be as coveted as any school in the nation.
Yes.
Geographically, academically, population now.
if you had to rank the schools in terms of how much the conferences would want them, wouldn't you go Notre Dame 1, North Carolina 2? All the schools that are available, so to speak. So take in the Big Ten and SEC, take them out of the equation. Take all the other schools. Notre Dame 1, North Carolina 2?
I think there's a canyon between 1 and 2, but I think there are others that would be a lot closer to 2, but I'm hard pressed to find someone to be ahead of North Carolina. I really am.
You and
no
I,
offense to Miami and Florida State.
right? And you and I, want them to thrive, root for them. But if I'm the Big Ten or the SEC, I would take North Carolina before I'd take either the Noles or the Canes. Them's fighting words, I know. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Okay, and then you guys have that 10 o'clock, right? Why is the Ole Miss South Carolina game off the board?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Daytona 500 coming up on Sunday. We're going to try to talk to an auto racing guy every show for the rest of the week. Don't know. I feel pretty confident about today and tomorrow. Really confident about today. We've got Adam Stern booked. And feel confident about tomorrow. A little worried about Friday morning. You know, you got the duels. And so the folks are working Thursday night. So I don't know if somebody will want to get up and talk racing with us Friday morning. But we got Daytona sold out early again. I do just want to throw this out there because the networks lie to you as to what time things are going to start. And the Fox graphic during the Super Bowl, I don't know if you noticed it, Mark. It said pre-race.
No, I have to be really honest. When these auto racing promos come on, I do something else.
You zone out, don't you?
I was stunned that there was an IndyCar, because they don't have the 500. They just have the Indy, or do they have the Indy 500 on Fox this year?
No, I think they've got the whole series.
Okay. Well, good to know. I'll know where to find it now. But the fact that they ran 2 promos for IndyCar racing was mesmerizing to me during the Super Bowl.
I was amazed. I mean, that's the most promotion publicity IndyCar has gotten in 20 years.
All right, you're going to get mad at me, but I have a nomination for a poll question today.
Okay.
When I saw your guest list, and for those new to the show, old to the show, haven't paid attention, David books the show, and usually sometime between 5 and 5:15, I get a text.
Yeah.
Says who's on the show.
Right.
Sometimes it's the night before if he's got responses
right
in a timely fashion.
Got them locked in, baby. Before you go to bed, I want you to know how good the show's going to be tomorrow.
And I know it's 500 week, Daytona 500 week, and David loves the Daytona 500.
And I've never been.
And I saw that we had a Daytona 500 guest. And my son, a few years ago, became a NASCAR fan.
Right.
He has virtually zero interest in it anymore.
Really?
Yeah, he thinks the new car's awful. There's no passing. It's bad racing compared to what it was.
Huh.
I don't know. I watched Ross. Since Ross made his move on the outside at Martinsville?
That sounds about right.
When he put it up against the wall and floored it?
And followed the wall and qualified? Right.
I don't think I've watched a race.
Wow.
And I am curious. I want to put a poll question up is how much of the Daytona 500 do you plan on watching Sunday?
Okay. No,
I'll
fair.
check it out. I'll watch the whole race.
I'm not interested.
I have zero interest.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. That is fair. I mean, it's the Super Bowl of racing for NASCAR. And so it's their chance to get the casual, hey, nothing much on, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, yeah, fine. Oh, yeah, Daytona, right. And listen, the final 30, 45 minutes of the Daytona 500 are almost always great. I mean, they're like an accordion, and all what could break loose, and it's exciting. It's nerve-wracking as hell for the drivers, and it's a total crapshoot, but it's exciting for us as fans. I just want, as a public service announcement, to let everybody know that Fox was lying to you. All right, the pre-race coverage does start at 2. The race will not start at 2:30. All right. The race is scheduled to start at 3:11. Okay? So I just want to let you all know that right now. If you're not into pre-race stuff, pre-game stuff, 2:30 is 3:11. I got a funny feeling, Mark, they're going to be racing on Monday. I just got a funny feeling. Because there's rain in the forecast along the northeast and east coast of Florida pretty much Thursday through Sunday. And remember, they finished that one Daytona 500 at like 1 a.m. and then vowed, yeah, that was stupid. Why didn't we just bring them back at like noon on Monday? This is a TV show after all. What were we thinking?
It is a fine line when you talk about auto racing, though, and being a TV show, because it's a spectator show. Huge crowds.
Yeah.
Garnering lots and lots of cash for these industries.
Yeah. There's going to be, what, 250,000 people at Daytona? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That place is, and it has sold out the last 3 years early, like October. Before the race, early. Although what's funny is, if you want, tomorrow night, the duels, you could buy really good seats on the grandstand for like $50.
For the duels?
Hey! If you're into
the duels
racing,
are even cooler than Carb Day.
It's 300 miles of racing, okay? It's 2 150s.
Is that the duels is when they have the swords out the windows and battle each other on the pits, right?
Right. It's when, yes, the muskets. Right. Okay. Yes, that's what it is. You got the Penske drivers and yes, and they got the muskets out. All right. Yeah, going against. Yeah, that's what it is, Mark. That's the duels.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
It's just like Burr and Hamilton. Somebody's going to die here tonight. Right. Right. All we need is a Waltrip and a Bodine involved. Let's go. Right. But I'm serious. If you're into racing, you get 300 miles of racing Thursday night. From like 7 to 9:30, 9 o'clock for $50. I mean, I don't think you can get a hotel within 100 miles of the place, but maybe.
You should go to the duels. You're close enough.
Yeah, well, I'm heading out of town today for last big road trip of the year for college hoops.
Oh,
Lisa, don't get me started. I'm headed to Conway, Arkansas. Okay, leave me alone. And then I'm going to Florence, Alabama, Central Arkansas, North Alabama road trip. Mark, it's the A-Sun. There's a 4-way tie for first. Don't talk to me about these games. It's almost as big as the duels. Okay? Almost.
Home court advantage at stake in the A-Sun.
Yeah, damn right.
Nothing like some small conference basketball here mid-February as they start lining themselves up for their only bid. All about who gets the home court advantage.
Could be.
Yes, it could.
Not only that, top 4 seeds get first-round buys in the A-Sun tournament. You only have to win 3 games to go dance instead of 4.
Right. And 3 of those schools that'll have home games, will lose money because they have home games because they won't draw any fans.
Possibly.
Maybe all 4.
It's kind of like going to the Rose Bowl. By the
It
time
really
you
is.
send the band and all your fans, you lose a couple $100,000.
But it's good exposure.
Right. Don't mess with me, okay? You know me and my small conference college basketball. I love one bid leagues. Love them. Late in the season. The final month of the season is just awesome. Guys are coaching for their jobs. Okay, now you got the kids who are literally auditioning for the big schools.
That's the big difference, is that these conference tournaments now for these small schools are transfer portal meccas for the big boys trying to find the next Chaz Lanier that can go from North Florida to Tennessee and help lead a big boy school possibly to a tournament run.
Are we going to have that at Daytona? Huh? All right. When they're out there with their swords and their muskets, is that going to be on the line? No, I don't think so. The starting five is next. Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower is so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Is snoring bothering your spouse? Would you like to sleep in the same bed again? Do you know that snoring can affect your sleep cycle and cause lower testosterone levels? At Sleep Treatment Direct, we have easy solutions. We have a simple laser procedure that can improve snoring in 10 minutes. If you would like to get back in the same bed or are looking for a natural way to treat low testosterone, give us a call at 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Or go to sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You may have seen this, but I think this is a fun story. The Clemson baseball coach got tossed against Florida in their last game of the season.
Oh, that's right. Yes, in the NCAAs.
Right. So he is suspended for the first 2 games of this season.
That's ridiculous.
And instead of just sitting in the hotel room, because they're playing, who are they playing? They're playing Oklahoma State and Arizona, I think. He's going to be on the radio. He's going to be in his hotel room joining the radio crew doing the game.
That's awesome.
I agree.
I hate the fact they're not even allowed in the stadium. I mean, why can't he sit in the booth? I know, because he could have communication with them, blah, blah, blah. But come on. And
Empire, I'd rather hold that off for next week when recency bias isn't so on top of everyone's head. But it's coming, don't you worry.
And I'm with you, EB. In fact, I was texting with a buddy of mine yesterday. I called him the Twin 150s. He got mad at me. I'm like, no, they're the Twin 150s. It's duals. No.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Adam Stern, who covers racing for a living, will join us 1 hour from now. We got Daytona this weekend. And did you already post it as a poll question?
It's up. We're ready to go. Let's get this show moving.
Green flag racing here on the show pretty early.
We may red flag the Daytona 500 after the time this poll question's done.
No, we're not going to do that till it rains on Sunday, which it will. So the Swamp Buggy races poll question. By the way, they've been around as long or longer than the Daytona 500. Okay. All right. Get your tickets now, swampbuggy.com, first weekend in March. So it's your level of interest in the Daytona 500, right?
That's it. How much of the Daytona 500 will you watch? All of it? I'll check it out. 0 interest. Early voting, 8 of 10, 0 interest.
No.
And I, for the record, did not put that as my answer. I said I would check it out.
Okay.
Because I usually do.
I'm all in. I get back late Saturday night. I will sleep in, and
You'll watch the whole race, won't you?
I start to finish, yeah. Absolutely, I will. Now, I don't watch the pre-race stuff. I don't. I try to, me. Like Super Bowl, I don't turn it on before 6 o'clock. I don't. Sorry. And I know they produce a couple good features and that, whatever. No, I'm interested in the game. That's how I roll.
think I'm more interested in the pre-race stuff in the 500 than I am the race.
Well, I will say.
Largely you have the start, you have 2.5 hours of accordion racing, and then you have everybody going like a bat out of hell trying to win the thing. And the only thing that I would say that, not the only thing, one of the things that bothers me is I get the idea of the green-white checker with caution flags. The problem is when they have 76 overtimes and the race never seems to end. That's bothersome.
We'll get to the starting 5 here in a moment. It is interesting that one of the most special races in the history of the sport was the 98 Daytona 500 when Earnhardt finally won. Turned out to be his only win of the 500. He won it under caution. So all those times that they said Dale won the Daytona 499. However many years later, when they started doing green, white, checkered, Earnhardt would have been on the inside on the restart, and they would have been ganging up to pass him, in which literally you don't want to be the lead car on the restart for a green, white, checkered at Daytona or Talladega. But Earnhardt won the race to the line, I think over Bobby Labonte, and then had the ceremonial lap, and then got the checkered flag.
The starting five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the starting five.
We'll start with the NFL. You guys seem interested in that. Saints officially hire Kellen Moore as their new head coach. He's going to call the plays. So he's trying to bring one of the Eagles' assistants with him, but that guy might be in line to replace Kellen Moore as the Eagles' OC. Wouldn't you stay in Philly, Mark? You're going to get to call the plays.
Promotion, get a little more money, absolutely.
And better team, let's be honest. Calling plays that have a much better chance of working with these guys. Eagles fans, by the way, set a Fanatics record. Most championship merchandise purchased within 24 hours of winning the championship. Now, it's fitting because the guy who, founded and runs Fanatics is from Philly and is a big Eagles fan. But, a judge released former 49ers defensive tackle Dana Stubblefield from prison yesterday. He was convicted a little over 4 years ago of rape. The conviction was vacated 2 months ago. The state, and I believe it's California, the state says that they're going to refile the charges and try them again. They don't agree with any of what has taken place. Stubblefield, through his attorneys, of course, claims that he's completely innocent. I guess we head back to court. Major League Baseball. Rays pitchers and catchers reporting to Port Charlotte. Whole bunch of teams reported yesterday. Everybody reports by tomorrow. Did you hear what Rays president of baseball operations, Eric Neander, had to say yesterday?
I did not. What did Eric Neander have to say?
Well, he was asked about, life at Steinbrenner Field and, how difficult it's going to be and what have you. And he said, listen, we've had uncertainty hanging over our heads for years. And we have found a way to win the third most games in Major League Baseball during that time and go to a couple of World Series. This is what we do. I think we do it pretty well.
I agree.
All right. Nice to see the Rays sticking their chest out going, yeah. We've been to more World Series in the last 16 years than the Yankees. Well, now the same number, but you get the idea. All right. By the way, I didn't realize they were third in wins. I mean, what? Dodgers, Astros. So you mean to tell me over the last 16 years, the Rays have won more games than the Yankees?
That's what he's saying. I don't have the numbers in front of me.
I don't either. I know. That also takes the Phillies and Braves into account. I'd love to look that up. Either way, it's pretty impressive. Dodgers re-signed Clayton Kershaw. He'll turn 37 next month. It'll be his 18th season with the Dodgers. The first ballot Hall of Famer is 32 strikeouts shy of 3,000. He's won 3 Cy Young Awards and MVP, 10 All-Star games, only 212 wins. Only. But, I mean, Koufax had like 160 something. So, I mean, Mark, be as unbiased as you can. Verlander, Scherzer, Kershaw, best pitcher of their generation. Who would you vote for?
I think it would be Kershaw. It'd be between
Kershaw and Verlander
for me.
Yeah, but I mean that's a
That's a healthy debate right there.
Yeah, it is.
That's a strong hour on MLB radio.
And you're damn right it is. Any time of the year too.
Oh, you got that right.
Any hour, come to think of it. I may call in and suggest it here one of these days. Angels sign closer Kenley Jansen to a 1-year, $10 million deal. He's fourth all-time in saves with 447. He needs 32 saves to pass Lee Smith and be number 3. Mariano and Hoffman are 1-2. Twins open camp, and they signed 30-year-old first baseman Ty France. He was an all-star just 3 years ago. NBA, Karl Anthony Towns, 40 points, 12 rebounds. Listen, if it's not Boston or Oklahoma City, the Knicks have a very good chance of beating them. If it's one of the elite teams, Cleveland, Boston, Oklahoma City, they got no shot beating them. But Indiana, oh yeah, 128-115 in Indianapolis, absolutely. Mark, the Sixers lost at home to Toronto.
Yes, they did, David.
And everybody played. They're 13 games below 500. They got Joel Embiid, Paul George, Maxey. They lost at home to the Raptors. And they were trying to win.
Right.
Brandon
They're 20-33. They are trailing Chicago by a game and a half for the final play-in spot. That's how bad the Sixers are.
Brandon Ingram just got traded to Toronto. The Raptors gave him a 3-year, $120 million extension. Most of you don't even know who Brandon Ingram is. He's going to make $40 million per. Hell, Brock Purdy's hoping to get a slightly better deal. You mentioned the Bulls, Mark. They lost at home to the Pistons by 40. The Pistons are the 6th seed in the East. They're 2 games above 500. I think they've already won more games this year than they won all of last year.
Oh, yeah.
Memphis beat Phoenix 119-112. Suns are below 500 and currently wouldn't even make the play-in. Memphis is the 2 seed. So Durant passed 30,000 points. He's the 8th player to do it. Can I ask you a question? What jersey is he going to wear going in the Hall of Fame? And is any franchise going to retire his number?
I don't know about the retirement. I have no idea who he'd go in for, David.
He only played 3 years in Golden State, 2 and change in Brooklyn. Now he's with Phoenix. I mean, so the majority of his career was with OKC, but
they don't want to claim him.
They don't want anything to do with him.
Right.
And with the way he abandoned them, I wouldn't either. College hoops, Gators started the second half on a 25-4 run. They won in Starkville against 22nd ranked Mississippi State, 81-68. The third ranked Gators are 21-3. UCF lost at home to 10th ranked Iowa State, 77-65. Top ranked Auburn beat Vandy on the road by 12. Second ranked Bama beat Texas on the road by 23. Kentucky won at home against Tennessee, 75-64. Michigan took over first in the Big Ten, beating Purdue 75-73. Canes actually won a game. They beat Syracuse. Talk about how the mighty have fallen. Syracuse is 11-14. This whole Villanova-Syracuse, the guys they chose to replace Jay Wright and Boeheim, this ain't working. Richard Pitino's at New Mexico. I'm just saying. UConn got 38 points, 10 rebounds from Liam McNeely. And Hurley taunted the fans leaving the court at the end of the game. UConn beat Creighton in Omaha 70-66. Illinois beat UCLA. SMU's won 19 games. They're a bubble team. And Kansas at home beat Colorado by 12. 8th ranked A&M, 18th ranked Marquette, both winners at home. NASCAR, Mark, the big issue heading into the 500. NASCAR passed this rule in September that would give, quote, world-class drivers, unquote, a provisional into the race if they want to race in it. And by world-class driver, they mean not NASCAR drivers. So like if Lewis Hamilton or Helio Castroneves wants to race, all they have to do is get their paperwork in 90 days before the race, and NASCAR will reserve a spot for them in the field. Well, Castroneves submitted his paperwork 90 days before Daytona. Now, he and his race team say, we're going to try to qualify on speed, but if they don't,
they're car 41, right?
They're car 41, exactly. And they haven't had that many cars in a race in 10 years. People are wondering why it wasn't applied for Jimmy Johnson and Martin Truex Jr. Aren't they world-class drivers, former Cup champions? In Jimmy Johnson's case, 7-time Cup champion. For the record, neither one of those two drivers submitted the paperwork to get the provisional. There are 9 drivers competing for 4 open spots in the Daytona 500. They'll do so tomorrow night, Mark, in the duels. Okay? In the duels.
Muskets, swords, everything. They spare no expense when they duel for the final 4 spots of the Daytona 500.
Exactly. 9 to start, 5 of them die. 4 get in the field. John Cooper, the Lightning coach, is coach of Team Canada. He says Jordan Binnington's our guy in goal, the Blues goalie. He chose him over Aiden Hill, who won the Cup with Vegas 2 years ago. Canada, Sweden tonight, 8 o'clock TNT. Canada at home in Montreal. Yeah. Canada's going to play all their games in Montreal, and the U.S. is going to play all their games in Boston. But Sweden and Finland, it's neutral, guys. Don't worry about it. And at 8 minutes before the hour, by the way, John Forsland on the show tomorrow to talk some 4 nations in NHL. 8 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories and the duels that you need to know here on Miller and Moulton.
David, I was not able to get the last 16 years of MLB wins, but I have the last 15. It goes Dodgers, Yankees, Cardinals, Rays. And the Cardinals were just 1 ahead of the Rays, so I'm guessing the previous year the Rays won a couple more games than the Cardinals.
Huh. Okay. That's pretty good.
Believe it or not, on that list of the last 15 years, the Astros are 10th.
Well, I will say the first 5 years of those 15 were pretty bad.
When you throw out Astros because of all their success recently, they're 10th on the list. The list goes Dodgers, Yankees, Cardinals, Rays, Braves, Guardians, Red Sox, Brewers, Giants, Astros.
Okay. The Phillies are not in the top 10, huh?
No, they're not. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners. Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Core-Tech, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit CapeCops.com. That's CapeCops.com. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, yeah. Dusty May was a phenomenal hire, Sonny. That's why there were a lot of people associated.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Wednesday as we get over the hump together. Hope your week is going well. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Adam Stern to talk a little Daytona in a little more than 30 minutes time. Seth Everett makes his weekly appearance in a little more than 90 minutes. We've got the racing bug, at least as far as poll questions go. Our Swamp Buggy Races poll question involves Daytona and your level of interest.
How much of the race are you going to watch? Right now, 15% of you say all of it. A little less than 36% of you say you're going to check it out. And 49% of you say you have zero interest in the race.
Okay, we're making progress. Okay, we've at least got zero interest in the race below 50. All right, that's good. We're coming on strong. And by we, I mean race fans. I voted for all of it. Mark voted for some of it. And this could be the only NASCAR race you watch all year, right? What if Chastain starts winning again? Like he didn't win all of last year. All right. If Ross Chastain starts being the guy from 2022 and 2023, you coming back?
I will watch sparingly if he has a better year.
Okay.
I definitely will. But I am curious as to, you've not watched as much as you used to.
No, I haven't. I didn't last year. I can genuinely say that. Last year was a down year for me in NASCAR, and I'm not quite sure why. Because my schedule's always been busy. So I've always made the time for NASCAR, and I'm not quite sure why last year I didn't.
I do want to switch gears and talk about something that people do have interest in.
I see what you did there. Switch gears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The NFL. Now, they may not have interest in this team, but this team, if they were anywhere else, would, I think, be considered a laughingstock. Yesterday, the Jacksonville Jaguars had their first interview for the general manager's job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're aware, but free agency and the combine are not that far away. You would think a team would want to get their front office in place, unless this general manager has no real authority in his job. Baselli's the VP of football operations. Liam Cohn's the head coach. I mean, one would think the GM would have a little bit to do with the draft and free agency, but maybe not in Jacksonville.
What are you implying, Mark?
That they look like they don't know what the hell they're doing. There's a reason why they continually draft in the first 5 picks of the draft. If I were a Jags fan, I'd be pissed off right now.
Well, I would want an explanation. I would be like, please tell me you've done some Zoom interviews over the last couple of weeks, that this is the first guy you're bringing to town. Okay, you hired your coach, 3 weeks ago? And I would be like you, Mark, going, you guys are aware, like, free agency starts in a month, right? We kind of, the draft's like 6 weeks later. I mean, I don't know. We seem to be falling behind. Now, I will say with the draft, the new GM inherits the old scouting department. And what routinely happens is when a new GM comes in, they have to work with the old guys' scouts.
Right. And then they fire them after the draft and bring in all their own people, or some
literally. Sometimes they fire them during the draft. I mean, once the board is set and what have you, and they fire them like Friday night. We got the board. We're good. Don't need you for Saturday. Besides, you guys aren't in the right. So, yeah, I'm with you, Mark. If I'm a Jags fan, this would concern me. I have to admit, though, what's more concerning? This could have been an NFL poll question. What's more concerning? The Jags interviewing their first candidate for the general manager's job on February 11th, or Dak Prescott saying with a straight face that we're really close to the Eagles?
Look it. Obviously, Dak must have taken a trip to South America with Aaron Rodgers.
Okay. All right, good. I thought you were going to go, well, obviously he's got to say that. No, actually he doesn't. So, okay. So I'm glad you're blaming this.
You want him to think that way. You want him to believe that his team is close to good.
No, I don't. No,
I
don't.
Want your quarterback to get up there and say, we suck, we need more weapons?
Yeah, I want my quarterback to do what Burrow's doing. Yeah, I want Dak Prescott to put the pressure on Jera. He's got a long-term deal, by the way, at $60 a year. He can do it. I mean, he can go public and say, hey, okay, we can't have the same kind of offseason we had last year when we said we were all in and did nothing.
Well, let's see. The Eagles have one of the two best offensive lines in football.
Yes.
Dallas has one of the 25 best lines in football. Philadelphia has the best defensive line in football. Dallas has a defensive line.
Well, they do. I mean, I will say, if healthy, they have real potential there. But, guys have trouble staying healthy.
Right. I mean.
Right. I mean, they've got two corners. They have trouble keeping them healthy. And the one guy's career actually could be in a little bit of doubt with his knee injury. But, okay. How are we doing on running backs?
Dallas has running backs on their roster. So when you compare the two and you look at the rosters, both rosters have running backs.
Right. I liked how you said, what was it for the offensive line? The Eagles have one of the top 2 lines, and you said the Cowboys have one of the top 25. So the Eagles have the top running back, and is the Cowboys quarterback room in the top, running back room, is it in the top 30?
David, I'm going to plead the fifth on this one because I'm not sure how to rank the bottom of the league in running backs, but they are clearly a bottom third running back room.
Yeah, I'd say they're
probably bottom 5.
Probably bottom 3. But yes, that's why I don't even know if they make the top 30 out of 32.
They might not.
You know how Ryan McGee during the college football season has his bottom 10?
Yes.
Right. I think the Cowboys are, trying really hard to make whatever the bottom would be at that position. So, come on. How can you with a straight face? Don't you think that's part of the problem in Dallas?
Well, hang on. Up until Sunday, the Eagles fans didn't love their coach. None of the Cowboys fans love their coach. I mean, we can draw comparisons here, David, all day long.
Okay. I know they were not in love with Nick Sirianni until about 8:00 Sunday night.
Yes.
I'll grant you that.
Yes.
Okay. When Cooper DeJean, I think, was sneaking inside the pylon there to go up 17-0. At that moment, they were like, this Nick Sirianni guy's starting to grow on me. I got you. But no, as a Cowboys fan, what Dak said would bother me. I would be like, this is the problem. You guys are in fantasy land. You're in la-la land. I go back to the first comment you made. Please tell me the narcotics that you're on, because I may need some later in life. You're crazy if you think you're close. Close.
Let me ask you this question, David. Dallas is picking 12th after a 7-10 record.
Right.
And Dak missed a good majority of the year. He'll be back assuming Dak's healthy,
Right.
Cowboys record in 2025. Same, better, worse.
Same. NFC East teams will have a much more difficult schedule next year. Take a look at their crossovers. We went through that a couple of weeks ago. That's why I'll tell you right now, if the Commanders, even if they have the same good fortune, and they will improve their team dramatically, not only with draft picks, but they've got like $70 million they can spend. The Commanders should have another really good offseason. I'm betting the under on the Commanders right now. In fact, I'm actually going to wait for them to have their really good offseason and try to get the over-under as high as it can get, and then I'm going to bet the under. Because NFC East teams, Mark, I'll make your prediction. At least 3 of the 4 have a worse record next year. There's a possibility the Giants could have a better record only because they're drafting 3rd, and maybe next year they'll draft like 7th.
Yeah, I just don't see, and obviously the Cowboys can improve their roster just like anyone else. But when you look at where Dallas is, they're not sitting with a bunch of cap room.
Well, no, because he may be a business Hall of Famer in the real world. He is not with the cap. And by waiting as long as he did last year and then having to structure the contracts the way he had to structure them because he had no years left on deals to maneuver with, okay, he put the Cowboys in yet another bad cap situation.
And he's got to get the Micah Parsons thing done.
Correct. And not only that, doesn't Des Bryant need an extension?
Who?
I'm sorry. CD Lamb.
No, didn't they just give him one?
Oh, that's right. CD got paid. They paid CD, then they paid Dak. My bad. Right. 88s. I got the 88s confused there. It's early in the morning. I could have said Drew Pearson or Michael Irvin. I mean, once, they just keep handing out 88 to their best receiver. When are they going to retire the jersey?
Apparently never.
So,
Apparently never. But yeah, they need. I mean, there's a spot they don't need help.
Mark, if Tua came out yesterday and said about the Dolphins, we're close, what would the reaction be from Dolphin fan?
They'd be a combination of laugh track and irate.
If the Browns came out yesterday and said we're close to the Ravens, come on, how would they react? I mean, I get it. We're fans. We're lapdogs. But come on, we're not that stupid. Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Core-Tech, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit CapeCops.com. That's CapeCops.com.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower is so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Detroit sports guy, NFL teams don't tank. They just don't.
The other thing is, I'll make a prediction right now. I don't think Arch comes out after next year.
I second that. Do we even know if he's any good yet? There we go. Zero interest back up to 50%.
Oh, come on. It was at 49. It didn't have far to go.
I know.
You know, we could have asked it about the Four Nations, too.
Oh, absolutely. But the Four Nations isn't the Stanley Cup.
True. Good point. Very good point. I also think what will play into it is who's going to end up with the first pick of the draft. Got to remember, the kid comes from a family in which he'll be fine. He'll stay at Texas and make $6+ million. Now, you know, obviously the extra year in the NFL, he'd make more, but you get the idea. Most people go to the NFL because of the money. Arch won't. Peyton, if he had come out after his junior year, the Jets had the number 1 pick. Peyton went back to Tennessee. Peyton could have been in New York.
I think the U.S. Sonny's overanalyzing this. They're trying to put together checking lines. I don't like where they have Larkin as the extra forward. Curious. And I want to see how Canada gets stopped on the power play if they get one.
So you threw me for a loop yesterday and you know what you did. Okay. So Mark sends me Canada's first power play unit. And then he just ghosts me. He's done. And so
I knew you had stuff going on. I thought I'd just throw you a little.
My mind then goes crazy. I start thinking about the 85 Oilers. You know, I'm like going through, I'm like, God, is this, you know, has there ever been, 87 Canada Cup, because that had to be what? Gretzky, Lemieux, Coffey, what? Chelios? Or was Chelios too young? Because was he a rookie on the 86 Canadians? But I'm trying to think of like what their power play had to be. Like was Ray Bourque too young? Like was it Coffey and Bourque? Which I think it was.
Bourque, Coffey, Crossman.
Yeah. So the first power play. So the first power play had to be Coffey and Bourque, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Gretzky, Lemieux, and who else? Think they put Howardchuk out there? Mess?
I think so. I think it was Howardchuk.
Howardchuk. Okay. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
And Chelios was an American, so he wouldn't have played.
Well, that's true. My bad.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Adam Stern to join us in a little more than 15 minutes. We'll talk Daytona. The NASCAR season begins every year with their Super Bowl. Adam Stern from Sports Business Journal to join us. Our poll question today, the Swamp Buggy Races poll question. Get your tickets for the races first weekend in March at swampbuggy.com. Swampbuggy.com. Okay, how much of Daytona 500 you watching? Some of it, all of it, none of it.
And right now, there are barely more of you watching than not. Zero interest with 47% of the vote.
We'll talk with Adam Stern about it coming up. If I can try to take people behind the curtain a little bit, maybe this will be repetitive, that you already know this about the two of us, but you keep telling us you like when we go behind the curtain, when we reveal stuff about us or the show that, you know, you wouldn't otherwise know. So I got a lot of stuff going on in my life, and Mark's aware of all of it. So he knows yesterday I'm on edge. I got some serious stuff going on. And in the middle of the day, no texts from the end of the show. He did send it right at the end of the show. He said, you know, gave me some well wishes and what have you. And then hours go by.
Almost 5 p.m.
So 7 hours go by.
And I knew you had stuff going on. I think it's about dinner time. I'm figuring the brain's about clear. Maybe you've sat down and you're a little in you're in a little bit better frame of mind than you were at 10:01 when you were not in a great frame of mind. I did leave you alone.
The last text says, I hope everything works out. Nearly 7 hours later, the very next conversation. First power play unit for Team Canada. McCarr, Reinhart, Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon. He knows. He does. Okay. Now, he may have thought, hey, I'm going to give him a little something to change, you know, what's on his mind and what have you. But deep down, he knows this will mess me up for the rest of the night. I'm done. Okay. Wife wants to watch the news and pay attention to what's going on in the world. Literally, for the rest of my day yesterday and night, all I'm doing is going through my mental Rolodex of the best power play units of all time. 85 Oilers, 87 Canada Cup. All right. The Red Wings unit with the 5 Russians on the ice. Literally, that's all I'm doing. You messed me up yesterday.
You've had, for the most part, very little, if damn near zero interest in this Four Nations Cup. I've brought it up a dozen times in the last 3 weeks, both on and off air.
Mm-hmm.
And you basically tap me on the head and say, that's cute.
Yeah, the way you're treating me about Daytona is pretty much the way I've treated you about the Four Nations.
And it's why I'm treating you the way I am about Daytona today. It's 3 weeks of pent-up frustration. And this is my passive-aggressive way to get back at you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is how we do passive-aggressive right here.
But McCarr, Reinhart, Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon.
Unbelievable. I was done. I was of no use to Western civilization for the rest of yesterday. That's it. I've contributed all I'm going to contribute today.
I thought that would get you at least to the tip of the 7 o'clock college basketball games.
Let me tell you, I just, that's true. At halftime last night of the early games is the first time I came up for air. I'm like, hey, how are we doing? And our system was 3-0 at halftime. Our system was fantastic at halftime. Finished 1-3. So that is pretty good first power play unit right there.
It really is.
I have to admit, tonight, 8 o'clock, I need Sweden to take an early penalty.
Right. Clear one over the glass. Give me a delay of game. Give me something right now.
Totally. Crosby, McDavid, and McKinnon out there at the same time. You do know Crosby takes the draw,
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure we all know who's taking the draw here. I mean, Sidney Crosby wins.
If this group gets the puck into the zone,
it's over.
I don't know how they stop it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Oh.
So I'm hopeful that this will be fun. That gets started tonight, 8 o'clock, Canada and Sweden.
Yep.
I think if, this game, the Canada-Sweden game, has the potential to be a bit of a no-hitter. But we shall see.
Well, every time Sweden and Finland out there, they both play 2-1 games for a living. So it's tough to score a bunch of goals against Sweden and Finland. Now, Canada and the U.S., that could be 5-4. I mean,
and that's Saturday night. Sweden, Finland, 1 o'clock on Saturday. Canada, U.S. Saturday night at 8 on ABC.
All right, I thought about this since you threw me off my game yesterday. I actually thought about this for the first time. I think they need more nations, maybe 8, maybe just 6, because I think they need to play every night.
I agree with that 100%.
I think if you're going to get our attention right, and by the way, I think they needed to play no later than last night. To me, if you want to play your NHL games through Saturday, fine. Then the guys travel late Saturday night, they get in Sunday, and somebody's playing on Tuesday. I mean, seriously, we need games. Okay, Monday
the NHL did play 2 games on Sunday, by the way.
I know that. I know they did. But I'm just saying, if we're doing this, we got to, the Monday after the Super Bowl. I mean, we said it, college basketball, somebody we think should take advantage of the Monday after the Super Bowl. But if you just want to do your press on that Monday and start playing games Tuesday, that's fine. But I think they needed to be playing last night, and they need to play every night. Every night they need to have a game at 7, 7:30, or 8 o'clock. Every night, even if it's one game a night. They need to play, 7, 8 days in a row, and then we get to the quarterfinals or whatever. Lose and you go home. Or, we advance only 4 teams out of group, and, you're playing right away in the semis. And let's go.
I'm with you, and I think they could have given them 1 day off, put 4 teams in, go semis, 1 day off, finals, call it a tournament, and we move on with the NHL season. But I think this will intensify as it goes on. I think the hitting will go up. And I think by the time we get to U.S. Canada on Saturday, we could get a real treat.
Hope so. Makar, Reinhart, Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon. You knew exactly what you were doing when you were sending that text.
That's why I didn't send anything else before it or after it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how geeky the two of us can get, number one. And B, he knows how to derail my train.
You didn't need to watch the news anyhow. What were you going to get out of that? Nothing.
Oh, nothing good. No, nothing good. I know how both sides think about everything. I'm not learning anything. No. What do I need? More weather? I get it. It's still winter in the rest of the country. It's cold in North Dakota in February. Who knew? By the way, it's warm in Florida in February. Oh, that's a shock. Huh. Adam Stern. Let's talk Daytona. I'm going to go passive aggressive on Mark next. Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. Sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Mark, I don't know if you'd find this interesting. Adam Stern, our next guest, posted this yesterday that Toyota spent the most money advertising within NASCAR races last year by a big margin. Wendy's was second. A pharmaceutical drug was third, Progressive was fourth, and Ford was fifth. But Toyota, within the races itself last year, spent $3.4 million advertising inside NASCAR races. It was not Viagra. It's something I've never heard of. Breztri Aerosphere medication. I don't know.
He's all set.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Seth Everett will join us for his weekly appearance 1 hour from now. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. John Forsland to talk hockey tomorrow. Adam Stern's kind enough to join us from Sports Business Journal. He covers racing, all different kinds, and UFC. You can follow Adam on X at A_S12, A_S12. Adam, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, no problem. Doing great. How are you guys?
Well, we're good. A lot of questions, and we'll just start with business. This whole lawsuit, I mean, is this as big a deal as it seems? I mean, Michael Jordan could dramatically change how NASCAR's run forever, correct?
Yeah, it absolutely is correct, and that definitely is the case, because what happened is that once these two teams sued NASCAR, one of which, as you noted, is the team co-owned by Michael Jordan, they went to court initially, and the big initial thing was who was going to get the injunction decision. The two teams that had sued NASCAR were basically suing to say, we want this injunction so that as we sue them, we're going to still allow it to be these charter teams and we'll still get full payouts. And NASCAR was saying, no way, that's not allowed. They don't want to be part of the system. They can't be part of it at all. And while NASCAR was winning at first, ultimately there was a change of judge a couple weeks through the case. And after there was a change of judge, the team started winning. And now the teams have the injunction. They got the injunction, and they really have the advantage right now. And so if there's anyone who would have to settle at the moment, it would probably be NASCAR. And that's quite amazing, because the only way they would be able to get these teams to settle is to offer things that would change the sport forever, and do things that they really don't want to do. And if they don't do that, then they're going to have to go through with this trial, which will have a jury ultimately that will decide, and they could break up NASCAR in ways that they've never been broken up before. So yes, this definitely is a existential threat to NASCAR in certain ways, and they take it as such.
I know NASCAR, if they had their choice, they'd just like to go back to bed and start this all over. But what's better for NASCAR, to settle or to go to court, in your opinion?
Well, that's kind of the billion-dollar question, because if they settle, they would theoretically probably be able to end up with a result that's less radical. But still, the chairman and CEO of NASCAR, who the two teams have sued personally, on top of suing NASCAR itself, is someone who is the son of the founder of NASCAR. And this person goes all the way back. Jim France goes all the way back to the founding of NASCAR. He's been with it, and part of the family that's been running this since 1948. And they don't really seem right now to be too keen to settle. So are there people in his ear saying, hey, it'd be better if you did this, because if we lost in a trial, it'd be even worse? There probably are people doing that. And that's why everyone's still keeping an eye on what might happen. But he's been seemingly pretty determined that it seems like he doesn't think that the teams have a good case. And there's some people who think he really might go through with this. Now, if you look at other situations in other sports leagues, UFC, for example, which, as you know, I do also cover, they have been through an antitrust lawsuit case where they ultimately did settle. but it took years and years to get there, and it hung as a black cloud over the sport. In fact, it took almost a decade. So even in situations where you're able to settle, it still can be quite messy. It can still take quite a while. The lawyer fees can be quite exorbitant. And so this is a situation that is absolutely affecting NASCAR and could definitely change the sport forever.
Adam Stern, Sports Business Journal. He covers motorsports and fighting for SBJ. Follow him on X, A_S12, A_S12. Adam, a lot of times in these business fights, the reason there's a settlement is because one side is deathly afraid of discovery. Obviously, the only law experience I have is watching Law and Order, but don't both sides know how NASCAR's run intimately? I would think discovery would not be a big deal here, that Jordan is suing not because he wants to find out stuff through discovery. He knows how NASCAR runs its business. He's trying to just change it.
Well, you bring up a good point, but I still think there's things in discovery that, because NASCAR has been privately owned, that the teams would like to see. Now, that being said, I think NASCAR feels like, would we like to avoid discovery? Absolutely. But would we want to avoid discovery at the cost of settling? It's starting to seem like that might not be the case. And so that's what's quite interesting, is that, of course, there could be things that come out in discovery that reveal communications that would have never, ever gotten out, that could be embarrassing, things of that nature for NASCAR and also for the teams, because, of course, NASCAR will be able to do discovery of the teams as well. But it seems like at this point that the chairman and CEO of NASCAR, Jim France, is so put off by this lawsuit and so determined to try and, get a victory here, that now that they're kind of behind the eight ball, they might have to go through with this trial to get a victory, because, again, the teams don't want to settle right now, but they have the advantage. And so NASCAR really has no choice at this point. They either have to go through discovery, or if they're going to settle, they're going to have to offer up something so significant. For example, the teams were asking for permanent charters, and that was something NASCAR was very insistent for over a year that they weren't going to do. So if they were going to go back and now finally do that, that would be a huge change for the sport forever, even if they settled. So really, they are in quite a pickle here. And it seems like at this point that they might be willing to take their chances on discovery, go through with discovery, because they feel like they don't have so much to hide that it's worth losing this trial over.
The 500. We pointed out earlier in the show that for like the third consecutive year, tickets have sold out well in advance. A lot of excitement about the race. Outside of people at the track, from a television standpoint, from a numbers standpoint, where is NASCAR heading into this season?
Well, look, this is the first year that NASCAR has a new TV deal since 2015. So from 2015 through 2024, they had the same two TV partners, Fox and NBC. This year, they're changing to where they now have 5 domestic media rights partners. So it's going to be a little bit more complicated for fans to find where races are, but NASCAR feels like they're going to get more promotion, that their sums are going to be better than the part. They feel like they're going into the streaming age with Amazon Prime for the first time ever. At the same time, Fox and NBC, the two incumbents, they have less races. And so far from what we've seen from Fox, it seems like they might not be quite as keen to market NASCAR quite as hard as they used to, because they do have less races. They actually were promoting IndyCar very hard during the Super Bowl, as some people might have seen, which is, a rival racing series. Now, with that being said, NASCAR still has a lot of things that have been going right forward in recent years. They've kind of undergone a dramatic makeover of their brand. And they've also changed a lot of things with their competition, including changing their car a couple years ago. That was supposed to increase the amount of teams that wanted to participate in the sport. And at this Daytona 500, it looks like it's bearing fruit. I believe there's something like 45 or 46 entries into this year's race, and it's the most since at least 2015. So there's some good signs about teams wanting to be involved. One of the teams this year is Junior Motorsports. Dale Earnhardt Jr., on social media, I just woke up and saw that he's already at the racetrack with his car. This is the first time Dale Earnhardt Jr. has ever run in the Premier Series of NASCAR. His team usually runs in the second division, but they've entered the Daytona 500. So that's going to be very exciting. We've got Elio Castroneves, of course, the Indy 500, multi-time Indy 500 champ, is going to be part of it. So it seems like they've got a pretty exciting field this year with a lot of entrants. And let's just hope the weather cooperates on Sunday. Hopefully they'll be able to get a good rating out of it.
9 drivers competing for 4 spots in the duels tomorrow night. Yeah, we noticed the same thing, by the way. Has IndyCar gotten promotion like that in the last 20 years in this country. They got two. One was 60 seconds, one was 30 seconds spot in the Super Bowl. That's $20 million of ad time.
It was really quite stunning. And as some outlets have pointed out, the amount of ad time they got arguably potentially added up to more than the value of what Fox is paying them for the entire year. Fox is roughly paying them somewhere around $20 to $25 million. And as you pointed out, the amount of value they got started to exceed that, which is absolutely stunning. It was plum positioning for IndyCar. And the answer to your question is no, they haven't gotten exposure like that in 20 years or more, from my understanding. Have they ever had any drivers appear in a Super Bowl ad? Maybe, but it's certainly been quite a while for IndyCar. And they've, to have a concerted ad campaign like that from a broadcaster with multiple different spots, it has to be almost unprecedented, if not indeed unprecedented in IndyCar history, which of course, this year will be the 109th running of the Indy 500. So this is a sport that's been around for a while. So they're absolutely delighted about that over at IndyCar. You could tell. And Fox is expecting a big, return out of it. But from their perspective, not only is this their first season covering IndyCar, but they have the whole IndyCar schedule. So they get to own that property, whereas NASCAR is now divvied up across 5 different partners, and they have a smaller slice of it, and they wanted to essentially retain some of their larger slices. So it seems like, that they are quite keen on kind of marketing IndyCar now that they have more of it, that they've lost some of NASCAR. They still did advertise the Daytona 500, of course, in multiple different ways during the NFL playoffs, but it seemed like there was a little bit more time and attention spent on IndyCar.
The 500's different than a regular NASCAR race. The super speedways, Talladega and Daytona, I get it. But the one complaint I have, my son's a giant NASCAR fan who has slipped his passion for it in the last 2 years. He doesn't think these cars pass enough. Do you think that that's a problem?
Yeah, the interesting thing about this Gen 7 car, or the next gen car, it's entering its 4th season. It's kind of been the inverse of the Gen 6. So the last version of car raced really well at short tracks, but it wasn't as racy. It didn't have as much passing, and it wasn't as competitive at the larger tracks. This car has essentially been the opposite, in the sense of it's not racing as well at the shorter tracks, but it's racing better at the bigger tracks. That's more like the 1.5 milers. Of course, Daytona and Talladega are their own beast. Those are 2.5 milers. And so, to your son's point, there have been some people who felt like at Daytona and Talladega, this car hasn't been quite as racy as the last generation of car, that it's made it, tougher in some ways to have passing and things like that. Obviously, there's a lot of passing, but it's kind of unique in Daytona and Talladega in the way that you want to have it. You want to have, 2 lines side by side. You don't want to ever have just that single file, because that could be quite boring at a track like Daytona. So, look, I don't think it's been a disastrous package for Daytona and Talladega, but there have been some people who felt like it was a little bit better under the old car. I still think NASCAR's racing at Daytona and Talladega, these super speedways, has been pretty good the last couple of years. It hasn't been dreadful by any stretch. You kind of got to overanalyze to think if it's a little bit better or a little bit worse. I still think this is, a very exciting style of racing for NASCAR, and we know that because traditionally Daytona and Talladega give the biggest ratings, so it's when the most fans are interested in NASCAR racing.
Final question from me for Adam Stern of Sports Business Journal. Well, I believe in your reporting in the last couple of days that ESPN, with both F1 and UFC, have let their exclusive windows pass. So could those be 2 sports in which we have radically different media rights deals and maybe different partners?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you look at starting with F1, of course, they had the Drive to Survive effect in 2020 while everyone was stuck at home for the pandemic. Everyone watched the docuseries on Netflix, and they grew their popularity massively. But what's been interesting is they've kind of got an NFL level hype in recent years, but the ratings are just nowhere in the stratosphere of the NFL. And I think that, I don't know if that's frustrated ESPN, but certainly we can say for sure that ESPN would have been delighted to see those ratings go higher. So in the last year or two, their ratings have kind of plateaued, and, they're stuck now kind of right around 1.5 million people per race. And again, it's not necessarily that that's a bad number, because that is up dramatically from where F1 was at before the pandemic. But the problem is that the ratings have somewhat plateaued, and they're still asking for big increases. So it's expected that they'll likely ask for a major increase from this next cycle. They were getting $5 million in the U.S. from 2020 to 2022, and then from 23 to 25, it went all the way up to $90 million. So they got a huge increase due to that popularity. But after that huge increase, their ratings didn't go up that much higher. And so that's kind of a recipe for a broadcaster like ESPN saying, we'd like to keep you, but you said you're asking for 2 times as much. Maybe you should go ask other people if they want to pay you that instead. And so I think that's kind of where we're at right now with F1. It doesn't mean that ESPN has no interest in them. They just don't necessarily have interest in paying another dramatic increase when ratings have stopped increasing dramatically. Right. So there could indeed be a change there. Could F1 try and start going to streaming platforms like Amazon Prime Video, or of course their longtime documentary partner Netflix? We saw that some of the reports are that Netflix is preparing a bid. I've heard people say keep an eye on that because Netflix seems to more so try and bid sparingly. They don't usually buy entire packages. They do kind of one-off. So it'll be interesting to see, could they try and, buy Monaco and some of the U.S. races, Netflix, but not the whole thing. And then they go and do another deal with another broadcaster spread across multiple platforms like we've seen with the NFL and like we're seeing with NASCAR. And then UFC.
Okay, well, Adam,
huge increase.
Okay. And Adam, maybe we'll pick up on that next time we talk. We're out of time. Enjoy Daytona. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't rain Sunday, and hopefully we can do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Adam Stern, he covers motorsports and fighting for Sports Business Journal. And he's got a lot on his plate right now, and he's at Daytona.
We have Seth Everett coming up in about 45 minutes time. But when we come back, there is one question about the Daytona 500 that Mr. Moulton has to answer. It may be the biggest question he's ever answered on this show.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners. Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Defining a new era in Men's Health. Get stronger and healthier at Game Day Men's Health. With our in-house laboratory, get in, get treated, and get back to your passion and purpose. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs or Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for a 10% discount on your service. Start living your best with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples. Call 239-427-3441 today.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.
And Geezer, I am with you. F1 is brutally boring. It's not racing, it's driving. There's no passing. It's awful. And I forgot my food. Canada Relief, I'll give you that. But once they get into the first turn, second turn tops, the race is over.
I got to pat myself on the back. I think that's one of the top 10 teases we've ever had on this show.
I don't know if we've had one better. I've always felt this way about F1, though.
You have.
My brother-in-law was a huge fan, and I used to go, "What? It's over." First turn. I mean, the pre-race and the pageantry, and I mean, an F1 race to me is the 20 minutes leading up to a college football game, and then the opening kickoff, and that's it.
I could put up a second poll question today and put how much of the Four Nations Cup are you going to watch and just put the same three answers.
We could do it tomorrow with Team USA playing.
Yeah. I have not been to Daytona Irish football. I've been to one auto race in my life, and I don't know if I was 7 years old yet. My Uncle Bill took me to, I believe, the Michigan 500, but I don't know it to be true. I know there was a stock car race before the Indy race, and I know that me and my cousin made a big pyramid of beer cans.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And it's the third hour of Miller and Moulton, which is the final hour of Miller and Moulton in Lake City and surrounding areas, Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Heck, we're just halfway home with the 239 and the 904. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Seth Everett joins us for his weekly appearance coming up in about 35 minutes' time. Well, listen, we have weaknesses on this show. In the last couple months, we've really solidified one of our weaknesses. We're having daily poll questions. We're putting a lot of effort into it. I don't know how good they are, but for us, this is terrific work because this was a big hole in our resume. We were awful with poll questions, but Swamp Buggy Races have chipped in and said, hey, get your act together. We'll sponsor them. And we said, okay, all right, since you're spending $20, we will do a daily poll question, swampbuggy.com. SwampBuggy.com. Get your tickets. Our Swamp Buggy Races poll question today. Daytona 500 Sunday. How much of it are you watching? Some of it, none of it, all of it?
Right now, all of it. Over 20% of the vote. I think that's good, and I'm not messing around. If 1 out of 5 out of our audience says they're watching the Daytona 500, I think that's a good number.
Okay.
I don't know about you. I don't know if you agree with me.
No, I do agree. I'm curious, will some of it and all of it add up and beat none of it?
Right now it is.
Close, though, right?
It's close. 48% was zero interest.
Okay.
You can do the math for the rest.
All right. But the other thing we're not good at is teasing. And in the industry, the consultants feel it's literally the most important thing you do in a show. It's to bring the audience to the next segment. Because their statistics say that basically every time you go to commercial, you have a brand new audience coming back on the other side. So we don't tease well. Our content's pretty good, but we just don't do a good job of making sure that you listen to the next segment and the one after that and what have you. Mark's tease heading into break. Oh my goodness. Entertainment Tonight heard that tease and went, wow, that's impressive.
David, while I have admitted several times in the show, and I know it's ticked off a lot of NASCAR and car racing fans, that I've really not been to a car race in person. I went to one race. My Uncle Bill took me to a race when I was very, very young. I don't even know if I know I wasn't 10. I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. I may have seen the Michigan 500. I don't know. There was one stock car race, and then there was an IndyCar race. We were there a long time. That's my delve into motorsports
Right.
in person.
So you don't even remember. It's kind of like at Pocono. Pocono used to have 2 NASCAR races and an IndyCar race. And so you were 6, 7, 8 years old. They took you to Michigan, who used to have a NASCAR race and an IndyCar race, and you can't even remember which one you went to.
No, there was a stock car race and there was an IndyCar race on the same day, but I'm guessing it wasn't NASCAR, if you know what I mean.
Gotcha.
And my Uncle Bill was much more of an Indy fan. He would go to the 500 every year. It was a family thing with he and my grandfather, and my dad went to a few. But so I'm not a car guy. But one of the things I've always been enamored with, particularly with the NASCAR audience, when it was the Winston Cup, were the giveaways.
Right.
But they were just handing out cigarettes like chiclets at these races.
Yes. You could get a carton. Okay. Then I remember when they would just only hand you like 2 packs at a time. But there was a time, I remember, now we're in the media, we couldn't accept them. But I do remember being handed a carton of cigarettes.
So that makes me laugh. And those days are long gone. Obviously, we cannot be handing smokes out anymore. But this year at Daytona, David, you're only given one seat, and you only can pick one.
Oh, here we go. I can't believe you're going here.
Oh, I'm going there.
Oh, my goodness.
2 of the big boys in the fast food world
Yep.
have freebies at the 500.
Yes, they do.
On the midway, Mickey D's is giving away free chicken McNuggets and French fries. In the infield, Wendy's is giving away singles, fries, Frosties, and Coke products in the infield. David Moulton,
Infield.
you only can have one seat. Where are you going?
First off, the singles are with cheese. Okay, so you're getting cheeseburgers, fries, Frosties, and a drink. You're getting far more food than you are from McDonald's, although I don't know how many McNuggets. I mean, that's the other thing. So is this unlimited McNuggets? Is this like a buffet? Because I could eat 412 before this race is over.
Take the drinks out of it, because I do think the Frosty makes Wendy's push over the edge. Take the drinks out of it. The single cheeseburgers and fries or the McNuggets and fries, you're in the infield for one. You're not for the other.
I know. The McDonald's seats are better. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think much better. Okay. So you get better seats, but it's McNuggets, which, don't get me wrong, like, you think they're disgusting. I could eat 300 of them. Okay. But they don't compare to a Wendy's cheeseburger. You know, Wendy's cheeseburger is better. Now, McDonald's fries are better. Okay?
Are they still? Are they living on reputation? Because I don't think the McDonald's fries been good in generations.
It's not as good. Okay, it's not as good. But I still think that McDonald's fries would win the taste test over Wendy's fries.
I'll take your word for it. You
know.
have more experience in this area.
But then, see, I don't see how you could take the Frosties and the beverages out of the equation. I'm getting 4 things from Wendy's. 4 things from Wendy's. I'm only getting 2 things from McDonald's, but I'm getting better seats. Only one of the food items McDonald's is offering me is better than any of the 4 items I'm getting from Wendy's. Here's the thing. And my wife's not listening to the show, and that's probably a good thing. So I would take the Wendy's and the inferior seats in the infield. Okay. Which really there aren't seats, but
I get your point.
Right. But Mark, I am unaware of the behavior of the infield at Daytona. I am aware of the behavior in the infield at Talladega. And in the infield at Talladega, it's a lot like 3 a.m. in New Orleans. Okay, it's a party. There's nudity. I mean, there's
a pole at Talladega.
Yes, there's, well, how old's your child? Not old enough. Hey, he's 26. Not old enough. No. Mm-mm. Why? She's 24 on the pole. I know. I mean, I got to admit, I would try out the infield at Daytona because I don't know what it's like. But let me tell you, you wouldn't have to give away free food to get me to go to the infield at Talladega. Now I'm 59. I'm probably out of place. But whew. So for the record, I'm choosing Wendy's. They're offering far more food, even though McDonald's is offering better seats and arguably the best thing they sell, which is their French fries. Arguably. For me, it's the quarter pounder with cheese, but
But I do think Wendy's is bringing their A game, because the Wendy's single is as good of a burger of the top, of your fast food chains that there is.
With cheese, by the way. Okay, it's important to note they're throwing cheese on it. Okay? Do you know a study came out yesterday? Some professor at South Florida.
You beat me to it by seconds.
So apparently, ladies and gentlemen, listen, you're learning important stuff on Miller and Moulton today, okay? You really are. Important stuff. You're learning who Canada's goalie is and their number one power play. And apparently there's been a study done recently, and a professor at South Florida is saying that if you are going to go drinking, before you go, eat cheese.
Eat cheese, specifically cheddar or brie.
Eat cheese.
Because
what, the fat content and something else, it'll sop up your alcohol.
Yes.
That if you think you may have a little extra drink or two than you normally do and you're worried about a hangover, before you go, eat cheese. Okay. Thanks. Now, see, to me, I know we waste a lot of money on certain studies. I think this is a productive study. I mean, we're not curing cancer or anything, but this helps. I like this. I like the time and effort and spent. If you guys are a little short and you need $10, $12 to help, pay things off, I'd contribute to that. Now, I'm not going to have brie for anything, though. I mean, you got to be kidding me.
No, but you'll eat cheddar. I mean, that's a step up from American for you, and that's something you'll jump into.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It even says Parmesan's a good cheese to have before you go drinking.
Okay. Great. Now, I have to admit, do you put Parmesan on anything other than spaghetti? I mean, because I'm willing to just eat cheddar slices before I go out. I mean, got to make a commitment and all.
Exactly. So cheese before drinking helps stay off the hangover.
And I would choose the infield at Daytona and the Wendy's as opposed to the much better seats in the McDonald's.
All leads to our Swamp Buggy Races poll question. How much of the 500 will you watch? All of it. I'll check it out. Zero interest. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X.
Now, if McDonald's had offered quarter pounders with cheese, I probably would have changed my vote.
What about double cheeseburgers?
Ooh.
Double cheeseburgers or a Wendy's single cheeseburger?
Wendy's is giving me Frosties and beverages. That's where McDonald's is making the mistake here. No beverages, guys? You're going to feed us and you're not going to give us anything to wash it down with? Come on. Got to fan-friendly, guys. Got to be fan-friendly. Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Quite literally, a Diet Coke wipeout as you're seeing the greatness of Marquette.
The Diet Coke.
Crean, I guess, dumped
Yeah.
his soda all over Fanta and his computer. There you go, Pius. Yeah, I'd go with an alternative. You know, Jesus, you know, American cheddar. I'll just keep pounding it down.
Wow. According to a study here at the University of Michigan, 42% of American high school seniors reported drinking in the past month. In 1997, it was 75%.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Seth Everett to join us, coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. John Forsland will join us on the show tomorrow. Our Swamp Buggy Races poll question. It involves Daytona. The duels are tomorrow night. That's how they fill up the race, who gets in and where they'll start the race from. But the race is Sunday afternoon. What's your level of interest in it in terms of how much of it are you going to watch? All of it, none of it, some of it? It's kind of a 50-50 vote. 50% of you are saying, yeah, I'm not interested at all. And then the other 50% are divvying up their levels of interest between, yeah, I'll turn it on and I'm all in. Mark will turn it on. I'm all in. Go to that Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X, and vote. It's our Swamp Buggy Races poll question. Go to swampbuggy.com.
David, I know there's probably a lot of sports to get to. We haven't even talked about the Dolphins hiring a new passing coordinator all day. The Jags still trying to hire a general manager, and the draft and the combine aren't that far away where you think they would. But Valentine's Day is Friday.
Right.
And that's a reminder to some of you that you may need to get a gift.
I bought flowers yesterday.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I sent flowers to my mother-in-law yesterday. I've got to get flowers for all the women in my life that live in Florida in the next couple of days. But I caught an article that had the worst and best Valentine's Day gifts.
Okay.
These three are listed as the worst Valentine's Day gifts.
Washer, dryer?
No, these are more along the lines of regular gifts that apparently aren't good for a lot of different reasons. But like bath salts, people like to buy their significant other stuff for the tub. And basically, they're saying that salt is a cleanser, removing toxins, and you're basically telling the person that you're a toxin if you're getting them bath salts. All right, whatever. Booze, the second worst Valentine's Day gift. I don't think that's a good Valentine's Day gift. I don't think a bottle of booze for your significant other really says, I love you. It says, I can only tolerate you if you're drinking. And a little bit of a shocker that it says the worst Valentine's Day gift is lingerie. It's the most searched for Valentine's Day gift. But basically, they say, since the underwear covers our most private area, it represents a desire to hide something. So those are the three worst gifts, David. These are the best gifts.
Well, I would like to think we could get all three.
I bet you can't. There's 4 listed, and I bet you'll only get one of the 4.
Seriously?
Yes.
Okay.
I think this is horse hockey, but...
Oh, well, if you had told me there was only 3 guesses, I just would have said some combination of jewelry, flowers, or chocolate.
Chocolate is the only one on the list.
What?
Yeah. Now, I guess you could say watches are on the list. I guess that's jewelry. But if I came home with a watch that wasn't a Rolex laced in diamonds for my wife, she'd laugh at me.
Well, yeah, we all use our phone now to see what time it is.
Scarves.
Come on.
David? In many cultures, a scarf represents a strong spiritual connection and divine blessings. The gift of a scarf on Valentine's Day shows faith in the relationship and a desire to keep each other warm and protected. And finally, the 4th one, and this will shock all of you, and I hope it gets a few of you to Williams and Sonoma later today, because kitchenware is listed as the 4th best gift.
You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
Despite the backlash against love presents, which are seen as functional or boring, kitchen utensils have a wonderful spiritual meaning. They let your partner know that you want to nourish each other's souls and create something together.
If I got my wife, Williams in Sonoma, she'd stab me in the neck with it. Are you for Valentine's Day? Come on.
This is not a spoof story. This is an actual story.
But what's the source here? Dick Cheney? I mean, seriously, somebody who has no romance whatsoever? Watches, scarves, kitchenware.
Like it says you don't get shoes. It started, the viral TikTok shoe theory maintains that gifting shoes to a lover foretells that they will walk away from you.
No on lingerie, yes on kitchenware.
Yep. Spatulas for everybody, David.
Well, they can serve another purpose, but
stay away from the wooden spoons. No matter how kinky you are, those they hurt.
They break too.
You really got to swing it to break a wooden spoon.
Well, my mother did over me. That's why she switched to the spatulas.
Get whip on that spatula.
She used to beat me in the kitchen, and I never knew why. Okay, first off, it was the smallest room in our apartment, so I couldn't go anywhere. And then secondly, she said, it's because one time I was chasing you with a wooden spoon, and I hit you, and it broke. And I didn't have anything. And so then from that point on, I figured out when it's time to spank you, I'll spank you in the kitchen. And when the wooden spoon breaks, I'll just reach over and hit, pancake flipper and get a little whip and. And I will say I'd much prefer the wooden spoon because that pancake flipper. Man. Seriously. If any of our audience adheres to this list, you deserve the response. That's the worst story. It's the worst story you've ever read on this show. The tease 30 minutes ago was the best tease you ever had in the history of this show.
So what you're saying is I brought the show to new heights and new lows all in the 8:00 hour.
Well, it's a gift. And man, are you bringing your gifts today? Seriously. Kitchenware, scarves, a watch for Valentine's Day? Not maybe a birthday. I don't know. You get something a little more practical for a birthday when you're an adult. Valentine's Day. Seriously, you going to get any of that stuff for your wife?
Chocolate. Already did. Chocolate and flowers and a dinner. Very simple.
That's the other thing. So dinner wasn't on there at all? Flowers were not on there.
I will say I don't like going out to dinner on Valentine's Day. Restaurants hate it. Everybody thinks restaurants love Valentine's Day. People don't drink as much. They're all sitting two to a table. There's not fours. Restaurants don't make as much money. You get a lot of first-timers coming out for dinner. Not a great night to go out to dinner. Servers would have my back on this. They don't get tipped as much because it's not the usual crowd. Valentine's Day, and I remember as a waiter, that was a not fun night to work. Expectations of the people dining are much higher because they've got to impress somebody.
Why? They bought her a scarf. How good does the meal have to be?
You just don't want to warm up with your partner. Don't know what to tell you. Miller and Moulton, trying to help you out on Valentine's Day. Get her a spatula. Seth Everett is next.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
Is snoring bothering your spouse? Would you like to sleep in the same bed again? Do you know that snoring can affect your sleep cycle and cause lower testosterone levels? At Sleep Treatment Direct, we have easy solutions. We have a simple laser procedure that can improve snoring in 10 minutes. If you would like to get back in the same bed or are looking for a natural way to treat low testosterone, give us a call at 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Or go to sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ah, look at you, Team USA. USA, USA.
There's no way I could put that on.
Why not? Too small?
I think I had it when I was 12.
Gotcha.
I never threw it away. I like it. I used to wear it to school. I remember that. I think I got it in 88. Nagano.
No, 88 was Calgary.
Oh, then maybe that was it. There you go.
84 was Sarajevo. So Nagano had to be one of those.
Oh, 98. 98.
Oh, 98. Got it.
But you're right. 88. It's got to be when I got it.
Well, that makes sense because you were like, what, 13 then or something like that?
Yeah, 13, 14. Yep. Yeah. Four Nations, baby.
Will you go to Boston if
No.
it's U.S. and Canada?
No.
You sound worse.
No, I'm fine. I'm totally fine.
Really? Because you sound like it's
No,
all,
I'm
all
totally
in
fine.
your
They're
head.
just the first people I'm talking to today.
Gotcha. Okay. I went through that a couple of weeks ago too.
We no, I have no free time to go. Although, and we could talk about this on the show. I have a free day today. Today is like the other team went off sides, and I have a free play. I was supposed to be in Maryland, and Maryland is closed today.
Oh, because of the weather?
Yeah. So I booked everything. I did everything. Everything's done. I have literally a free day today.
So this will be the only thing you do today.
This and submit Hall of Justice, but I could have submitted it before I left. Once I knew I wasn't coming, I waited till today. But it's done. Everything's done. It'll take me 6 minutes to be done. It's a very weird feeling. This is not normal for me. I watched Cuse lose to Miami. Miami.
Yeah, you guys are what, 11 and 14?
They're not going to go to the ACC. They're not going to the ACC tournament.
So them and Miami are the two teams that won't make the ACC tournament?
I mean, there's 3 other teams that they're fighting with, but yeah, there's like 6 games left.
Yeah, this whole Villanova-Syracuse replacement coaches thing is not exactly working out.
No, it's not going well. Get somebody else.
They forced Boeheim out for this, too.
Well, sort of.
What do you mean, sort of?
No, Boeheim saw he hated the portal.
Yeah, but Jim wasn't going to quit.
No, but I think that he saw that the landscape was changing.
He did not want to leave, Seth. Come on.
I don't know.
He got pushed out.
He saw Nick Saban and how happy he is.
Right. He left first, remember? I hope Carmelo's kid can play. Man.
So do they. But the thing is, if he doesn't like it, he's leaving.
Sure.
It's
They
not
all are.
like Carmelo.
Well,
college sports just infuriate me.
Carmelo was one and done, but
Yes, he was, but it was quite a one.
It was quite a one.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And you should always watch our weekly segments with Seth Everett. Twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, because Seth is always dressing up in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's something having to do with cartoons and movies, or whether it's a sports shirt or jersey of some kind. And as Seth Everett joins us, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett. He is unveiling his Team USA hockey jersey.
From the 80s. It'll fit around my arm.
But when you hold it up, it looks good.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got that?
I think I was 13 or 14 years old.
Will that fit one of your daughters? Your youngest? Could she wear
it
that?
would. It would. But the white of the red, white, and blue is an interesting tint of yellow. So I don't see my kids putting this on.
May have to get it dry cleaned before the game tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll go dry clean a 1988 jersey.
Hey, listen, Seth, nobody can live in the past sometimes, quite like Miller and Moulton. So the Four Nations, is it the Cup? What is it?
It's called the Four Nations Face-Off.
Four Nations Face-Off begins tonight in Montreal, Canada, and Sweden. Tomorrow night in Boston, the U.S.
No. That's in Montreal too.
Oh, really?
Everything's in Montreal, and then next week everything's in Boston.
Huh. Okay. Oh, great. I hope they don't boo our anthem. That'll just get it off to a bad start.
They're going to boo our anthem. It's Montreal. I mean, this isn't even Canada. It's Quebec, where they don't even like their own country, let alone like us.
Well, okay. If they boo one of the two anthems tonight, I'll feel better tomorrow night.
My kids asked me why I know all the words to the Canadian anthem. I said it was because of Carla Tortelli's late husband, Eddie LeBecq, on Cheers when he died, and she went into the back of Cheers and sang that anthem. That's how I learned the Canadian national anthem.
I know all the words as well, Seth. It was many years ago at a fantasy football draft, this big league, 20 guys in the league, and one of the guys was dating a Canadian girl. And she showed up after the draft, and she walked in the room, and all of us serenaded her with the Canadian anthem.
Very nice.
That's
well
awesome.
done.
Very nice.
Well done. Are you in on this? Our poll question today involves Daytona, but we could easily have asked the same question, and we made tomorrow. Concerning the Daytona 500, the Swamp Buggy Races poll question is, so how much of it are you going to watch? Some, all of it, none of it. We could ask the same thing about this whole Four Nations face-off.
Oh, I'll watch it. Oh, I was going to say I'm not going to watch the Daytona 500.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
but I'll watch it. I watch it with just trepidation. I will watch it and just say, you win, you score, that's fine. Just everybody, nobody get hurt. Nobody get hurt. I have this obsession with international tournaments and injuries. I think of John Tavares. I think of Gabriel Jesus during the World Cup, the most recent one in Qatar. I hate all of this stuff. But if you look at one of the top stories on ESPN.com this morning, Arsenal striker Kai Havertz got hurt in training camp. He went to Dubai and they went to training camp. You can get hurt anywhere. I get it. But as long as Jesper Bratt and Jack Hughes are okay for the season when it resumes, I don't care who wins this thing.
You really don't care who wins this.
I don't care who wins. No, I could care less who wins this little made-up tournament. I'm hopeful that the games are great. I really am, and I'd love my guys to do well. But I could care less. I could care less. Sweden, Finland, it's fine. They're all good, and I know for Sweden, the Devils goalie was supposed to be their goalie, Jacob Markstrom, but he's hurt. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think they should have included Russia?
No. Well, no, because if the International Olympic Committee is not organizing,
hey,
wait a minute. This isn't the NHL's running this. The NHL.
No, I know the NHL's
running
running
another team.
Yeah, no, they also should include Switzerland. But they wanted to limit it to 4 teams, and they did it.
No, they didn't want to include Russia. Okay,
I understand that, but
to us, we think first off, if you're this against the Russians, then ban all the Russians from playing in your league. Okay, if you're going to allow the Russians to play in your league, okay, then quite frankly, when you hold this international tournament, I mean, come on, they're one of the top 4 or 5 hockey nations in the world. If you're going to have an international hockey tournament and you don't invite Russia, then quite frankly, it's not as good a hockey tournament as you could put forth.
But it's an exhibition, and they just came up with these 4 teams because they knew they could populate the rosters. That's all it was.
Seth.
They didn't care.
Seth. Come on.
What?
They knew that they could populate the rosters, and they're leaving out Russia.
That's why Switzerland's not in this.
Let's put Finland in and not Russia. Come on, Seth. They're not doing it because this was the 4 rosters they filled. It's because they're following the IOC, and they're trying to make a political stance here.
Okay. That doesn't bother me. I don't care. I don't care. It's naive to think that politics don't invade sports. It does on every level. You can make every sport a political discussion. You can have a whole Super Bowl discussion about politics if you want to.
Yes, you
but
could.
All I'm saying is they arbitrarily chose these 4 teams. I don't care what their method was. I've also said, as long as everybody doesn't get hurt, I don't care who wins.
All right. Seth
We're either going there or we're not going there. That's my point. If you want to go there, then let's go there. That's fine. Why is Arina Sabalenka allowed to compete in tennis?
Well, tennis has already had that battle where in a couple of Wimbledons they've barred Russians and Ukrainians, and now they've decided that was a mistake and they're going back. We just think of all the leagues, literally of all the leagues. There is not a league with more Russian athletes, not a North American league, than the NHL. Okay, so of all the leagues, if you want to make a political statement, first off, wouldn't you make it in your league? I mean, seriously, if you've got some onions and you want to make a political statement, don't you make it in your league? Don't you ban them from playing in your league?
I'd be fine. I'd understand. My point is that they picked these random 4 countries to be in this thing. And
Seth, you say random like it was the Powerball, and they had 18 nations in there, and they spit out and they played.
We have to make sure that we're on international standards. It's an exhibition tournament, and each team's playing 3 times. That's it. And then there's 1 championship game, and no one cares.
But I would argue because it's an exhibition, it's why they should have included the Russians. I mean, since this is a made-for-TV event, okay, shouldn't you put the best player? I mean, come on. Now, also, this is the last chance to probably see Ovechkin in one of these. Never mind, arguably the best goalie in the world's Russian and plays for the Lightning. Okay, and arguably the second best goalie in the world's Russian, plays for the Rangers. I mean, they're leaving, and we can go down the list. Kucherov, Panarin. I mean, we're leaving out some talent here.
Sure.
Okay. I just wanted you're big into hockey. You will go down the political road where usually Miller and Moulton won't. We just thought we would go down that road with you and see where you stood.
This doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Okay.
Again, my argument has always been, as long as everybody doesn't get hurt, I'm fine with it.
Well, no, we didn't realize that you were, you were a soccer mom when at the highest level when it came to this. I did well. I mean, your concern for the right winger.
All I care about is that these guys do not get hurt. That's all I care about. I will be furious if one of my guys get hurt.
Okay.
They could win 76-0. It doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Just don't get
gets hurt. Right. I got it. Okay. Fair enough.
What was your takeaway from the Super Bowl? Anything outside the game that you took from the 4-hour TV show?
I didn't see 1 second of the pregame. Some of the commercials were very off-putting, and the game was. I struggled to keep my attention. I thought Kevin did a great job, Kevin Burkhardt. I thought Brady was average at best. He added very little to the broadcast. I thought they made a mistake. They should have had Greg Olsen be part of it. Maybe not during the game, but maybe during pregame or something. I don't know.
You're not the only person to say that Olsen should have been included. Come on, Seth. They spent $375 million on Brady. Okay, there's enough people out there. And by the way, I apologize if there's background noise. There's construction right outside my condo.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so that noise is construction. I apologize. Okay, but I mean, come on, Seth. There's already people who think Olsen's better than Brady. Now you're going to give Olsen.
Well, he is. There's no question. What I'm saying is Brady didn't add anything.
No, and I don't disagree, but you can't have Olsen on the same. I don't mean 3-man in the booth, but just
I don't know. Halftime. I don't know. I mean, again, I didn't watch 1 ounce of it. I heard there was an AI Jimmy Johnson. I said, this isn't making me tune in. I watched a movie on Sunday afternoon before the game. I tuned in right at 6:30 when the game was about to kick off. I saw the Super Bowl. I was hoping for a great game. I like, there's certain aspects of both teams that I like. I was happy for Philadelphia. I love the city. I don't have a thing with the Eagles. I hate the Flyers, but other than that, I don't. I love the Phillies and I love that city, and I've had great memories there, and happy for them. I'm happy for Saquon Barkley. I've been a massive Saquon Barkley fan from his time with the Giants. I was at a symposium that he spoke at, and I was so impressed with him. A very forward-thinking guy, and I'm a fan.
All right, so there's your takes on the Super Bowl. Pitchers and catchers reported. I know you don't care about baseball the once you did.
They got rid of the see-through pants. I
read
that story.
Yes, we have new uniforms, right? Yes, and supposedly these won't fall apart when they're sliding into home. Yes.
I have a big decision for baseball to go for. Do I fit the $10 a month for the Yes Network?
Well, that's how you see the Yankees.
I know, and I'm saying, do I need to see the Yankees? How much of the Yankees do I need to see? And I need to see if I'm buying the MLB package. I'm not sure. I don't know. I've had it the last few years, and I've been watching games during the daytime. I've had games on, but this new Gotham, the Gotham app, we pay for half of it. We get the Gotham is an app that combines MSG and Yes, and you pay one fee for one of the services, and then you can double up and get the other service. So we pay for the MSG side, which is the Devils, the Rangers, the Islanders, the Knicks, the Nets and the Yankees are on the yes side, and I'm debating whether or not how much Yankees will I actually watch, and would that be worth $10 a month? I don't know. It's a cord cutter's dilemma.
That's the cord cutter's dilemma, huh? I have the same one, though, with whatever it used to be the Bally's. Now it's the FanDuel app to watch the Rays and Marlins. Do I need to watch the Marlins? The answer is really no. But I enjoy watching the Rays, so I will probably.
It's a choice. It's a choice. Like, is just following it by reading enough, or is this something I want? It's interesting. There's very few national television games, but the Yankees do have a thing with Amazon Prime, so maybe I could just watch those games. I don't know. I'm like debating it. This Gotham app is a new venture. And I'm curious to see during baseball season, would I pay? I think it's $29, and do I pay $49 or $39? I don't know.
30 seconds. Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Go.
Sports with Friends is John Wilner from the San Jose Mercury News. Great college football conversation about the potential of a super league in the 2030s. And what that would mean for the riffraff. What would it mean for the remaining all the rejects who don't get invited to the Super League? And then Hall of Justice is the finale of the 3-part Superman 5 stage reading. It is the finale of the thing. You find out how it ends, and Christopher Reeve flies off into the sun, into the space like he did in Superman 1, 2, and 3, and we have the Superman theme and all that stuff, and it's like an old time radio show. It's very, very cool. The feedback has been amazing, and it's part 3, Superman 5.
He's Seth Everett, Sports with Friends Hall of Justice. Follow him on X at Seth_Everett, Seth_Everett. Try to wear that Team USA jersey outside and see the reaction that you get. Seth, as always, appreciate your time.
Hey, you can see his nipples.
It's a hell of a way to end Miller and Moulton in Lake City and Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Fortunately, in the 239 and the 904, we can erase that memory with one more hour next. Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor, a neighborly company.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit CapeCops.com. That's CapeCops.com. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymade.com/FTMYERS.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So how bad is that? Mark? Yeah. Golly. They're literally right over me. Oh. Yeah. God.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton, and I'd like to apologize right now. They are doing construction work on the roof in the condo that I live in, and we live on the top floor of the condo.
Closest to the roof.
And while there are 8 condos on the floor, apparently the crew is doing work directly, not just over our condo, but over the room that I am broadcasting from. And so when the drill starts going and the hammers start going, it is loud. And I'm muting my mic whenever I can, but man, this is a problem.
I just got a text that said it sounds like David's getting a new roof. And I responded, that's exactly what it is.
Yes. Yes. Apparently to be, I don't know, up to code, some inspection, after the whole building collapsed in South Florida 3 years ago, it's okay. Got to do what you got to do. I know the check we had to write. Okay, I'm fine with it. But I do a show till 10. Okay, can't you do this at 10 to 6? No?
It's one thing during the week for construction crews to start when they start. My neighbor's getting a new roof done. And I've been trying to be better about exercising. So on the weekends, as soon as I get up, our clubhouse has a little gym, and I usually walk down first thing in the morning. 7:15 in the morning, I see on a Saturday, I see the roofers, and I'm like, that ain't right.
Nah.
That's one thing on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That ain't right on a Saturday.
Yeah, I agree. Got to wait till 8, don't you? At least got to wait till 8. Yeah. Yeah. So I want to answer a comment in the Twitch chat room. Okay. Sonny said, well, how about you have your wife give him some tuna mac, making fun because I love tuna mac and what have you. Yesterday, Mark, I don't know if you heard, there's this, I don't know, big recall to tuna fish or what have you. I don't know.
Oh, yeah?
Something going on. And my wife walks in and goes, I got bad news, really bad news. I go, what? She goes, I can't make you tuna mac. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Are you breaking up with me? What? And then, I don't know, she explained, something's going on around the world and there's something wrong with the tuna. I don't know. So I can't do that either. I can't bribe the roofers with tuna mac. Although my guess is they'd look at it and go, is this supposed to be a greeting? Okay. Is that on the list of top 4 things you can give for Valentine's Day gifts? Tuna mac?
Tuna mac did not make the list, David.
No, but a watch and a scarf did.
But the bowl that you serve the tuna mac in did make the list.
Yeah, just right. Williams and Sonoma. Yes. A scarf. Please. I'm going to try that. I am.
In Florida, you're going to get your wife a scarf.
Hey, first off, we don't live in Southwest Florida anymore. Okay, we get seasons here. We had snow flurries 3 weeks ago. Okay, so and besides, Mark, my wife. She gets cold when it gets below 65.
It's true. She probably would love the scarf. The more I think about it, I think it's the perfect gift for your wife.
My wife moved down here on a Thursday. I say my wife moved down on a Thursday because I moved down on the Tuesday before, and I set up the apartment and put the bed together for our then 2.5-year-old and the whole deal. Wife and the daughter get here 2 days later. First weekend in November. You know what the weather's like first weekend in November. It's stunningly perfect. Right?
Right.
Had a normal day, highs, low 80s. It's like 8 o'clock at night. It's 74 degrees. We've just spent 5 years in North Dakota. My wife's been in Florida 48 hours. She walks out on the lanai, walks back in and says with a perfectly straight face, little chilly out there tonight. I hadn't been outside in like 4 minutes. I was like wondering what happened. Yeah. Right. 74 degrees. Little chilly out there tonight.
David, just a reminder that in many cultures, a scarf represents a strong spiritual connection and divine blessings, which the gift of a scarf on Valentine's Day shows faith in the relationship and a desire to keep each other warm and protected. I want you to buy your wife a scarf for Valentine's.
Oh, no, I'm going to.
Because she's going to love it.
I'm going to.
Absolutely love it.
I'm not going to say a word. A card and a scarf. That's what I'm going to give her. And I'm going to wait for the response. Probably won't be able to do it this year because I'll be out of town on Valentine's Day. Next year, I think next year Valentine's Day is on a Saturday.
Probably.
So I'll do it next year. I'll be home. I'll make sure of it. All right. And I will get her next year. I will get her a scarf for Valentine's Day. And I will not say a word. I will give it to her proudly.
David, I think you could get it today, leave it in a box with a card, and on the card say, it's my desire to keep you warm and protected. It will go over a lot better than, can you believe it's been 16 years, to which she replied, oh, good God.
And next year we'll be approaching 30 years of marital bliss. 30. Mm-hmm. And you want me to get her a scarf.
And chocolates. Chocolates are higher on the list than the scarf is.
And in certain cultures, it means what again? Because I can assure you that it will not be the culture that is in this condo.
It shows faith in the relationship and a desire to keep each other warm and protected.
Okay. Right. I can tell you in this culture how it's going to be received. As, what the hell am I supposed to do with this, you cheap, unromantic blankety blank? And I'm supposed to then look at her and go, honey, it means strength in the relationship and me wanting to keep you warm.
And protected.
And she will
she might tear up.
Yes, because she'll realize that our marriage is over. Because approaching our 30th anniversary on Valentine's Day, I will have gotten her a scarf. Johnny Mac wants to know, silk or wool? That's funny, Johnny. That's
hell, Baby Jules is willing to crochet the scarf for you.
You guys are not helping. Just so you know, you're not helping. But thank you. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Strength, warmth, and what else? Yeah.
Protection.
Protection. A scarf is a sign of protection. You know what a sign of protection is? A Glock. That's the sign of protection. Not a scarf.
It's to keep each other warm and protected.
Let me tell you something. If she had a Glock, I'd feel warm and protected. No?
Miller and Moulton. I have never been so happy that we are as apart as we are.
Hey, here we go. They're back at it. It took about 8-9 minutes off just when I was going to change the subject.
Poll question is, how much of the Daytona 500 will you watch? Are you like David in watching all of it? Are you like me that you'll check it out? Or do you have zero interest? Right now, 52% of you have zero interest.
Oh, no. We can't even get above the Mendoza line? And I know he hit 200, but, in poll questions, it's getting above 50%. Oh, come on. I can't get 51% of the audience to watch some of the Daytona 500. What are you going to watch this Sunday?
Anything but. That's the thing. Is they are at a spot right now. It is, and that is a sport that is an all or nothing. Not many people go check out car racing.
I understand, but it's the Super Bowl of racing, and there's nothing on. There's what? The golf in San Diego, the Genesis.
Elevated event. That'll do well.
Yeah, see? I agree with the construction workers as to how well that'll do. Tiger, by the way, not playing.
Nope.
Not like he was going to make the cut anyway.
Nope. Tiger pulled out
because of the death of his mom. I mean, it's a legit thing here. All right. It's not, him claiming he's hurt when he's healed, but he's just not playing well.
I think he'll be, because it's his tournament, he'll be there on the weekend. He said he's going to show up, but not playing.
Don't laugh. If he does play something before the Masters, making the cut would be a good start. Remember, he played 6 events last year, right? Or 5. He had 3 missed cuts. He had a WD, and he finished 60th at the Masters, which I think was last. Of the guys that made the cut, I think Tiger finished last. I think those were the events he played last year. 3 missed cuts, a WD, and he finished last in the Masters, which was the only tournament he made the cut in. So, a year later, a year removed from the 2 major surgeries, can Tiger make cuts this year? Can Tiger play 72 holes when he plays? Don't laugh. That would be an improvement.
Would be huge. And I don't think he can. I don't think you can play 6 tournaments a year and be competitive with how good these players are.
It's why I agree with Azinger and Longer. I actually think we're going to see him on the Champions Tour, Mark. There's no cuts. And a lot of those tournaments are 54 holes, and you can ride a cart. I mean,
if not for anything, then to get ready for the majors.
Yes, just to get in some competitive rounds. And in theory,
would do so much for that tour.
And in theory, he could be very competitive and put himself in a situation where he's hitting meaningful shots on the back 9 on Sunday. Which, isn't he wanting to then do that on the regular tour?
Miller and Moulton. A drill, a roof patch, and the good, bad, and ugly all coming up.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
Whether you're chasing peak performance, reigniting intimacy, or simply want to feel your best, Game Day Men's Health creates customized game plans to optimize your health. Call 239-427-3441 for our Bonita Springs and Naples location to set up your free testosterone test and consultation. Mention Miller Moulton Radio Show for 10% off your service. Find your maximum self with Game Day Men's Health, Bonita Springs and Naples, Florida. Call 239-427-3441 today.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It was Baby Jules, right, who offered to, was it crochet or knit a scarf? Can you guys hear me? Mark, can you hear me? Oh, okay. Baby Jules, that's a very nice offer. That's very nice. All right. So, it's totally unnecessary, but that's very nice. I appreciate that. Has anybody been reading Michael Kim? I don't know if he's also blogging this, but he's like posting on X long posts detailed about life on the tour and what they talk about during the round, and it's really good stuff. And Phil's fan, he was talking about Spieth, and just he said him and somebody was playing with, okay, and they saw where Spieth was, and they both said he can't get it up and down from there, can he? And sure enough, he knocks it to about 8 feet, makes the putt. They just shake their head. They go, "You gotta be kidding me!"
He hits it everywhere.
He's the closest thing we have to Phil. Aren't there times where you look at his score and you think of that old line of Hale Irwin's line about Seve? I've never seen anybody hit the ball so badly and score so well.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to pass Irish football, but that's.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I swear during that entire break, the construction workers didn't make a sound.
They'll be back. Well, they might be listening to the show.
Well, as soon as they hear my voice, now that all of a sudden they're drilling again.
David, a couple of texts we received from the last segment. My wife wanted an Everblade scarf. I got her one at the game the other day. Another texter says, I wouldn't know where to buy a scarf.
Now, hold on. Can I ask the one gentleman, did she want an Everblade scarf for Valentine's Day? Or were you just at the game and she saw it and she said, oh, I'd like a Blade scarf?
He had texted earlier in the show that his wife doesn't want anything for Valentine's Day. I'll get her a card and that's about it. She really wants nothing. But he heard the scarf conversation and jumped back in a half hour later to let us know that he recently bought his wife a scarf. You know why? He wanted her to feel safe and protected.
That's what I was going to ask him. Can you ask her, did she want the scarf because she wanted an element of safety, protection, and warmth?
And then a very Florida answer in which I said, I got my girlfriend a small concealed carry 9mm as a gift.
By the way, do you believe your wife when she says, I don't want anything for Valentine's Day?
No. Never. And I believe my wife 99% of the time.
Yeah,
but when she gets into the whole I don't want a gift thing, I think it's BS. And I buy it anyhow.
Have you ever been yelled at because you bought it?
No, never once.
Right. Didn't think so. Yep.
She's never taken it back.
Right.
Never got angry for getting the gift.
Never regifted it and gave it to somebody else.
And I have pressure on me this year for Valentine's Day because when I went to the Orange Bowl in early January, the tickets were already bought. And the person that I went with is my wife's coworker. And so I texted him on the day we were leaving for the game. I said, hey, what do I owe you for the ticket? And he said, your lovely wife took care of it already.
Oh.
And she just looked at me and she went, Happy Valentine's Day.
So now you have
and
to
she even
measure up.
reminded me yesterday. She goes, I said, yeah, I know.
Wow.
She's like, the Orange Bowl was your Valentine's. I'm like, I'm aware.
Wow. So she's not doing the subtlety card. She's not resting on her laurels at all there. She's
not at all.
No, she's right in your face, making sure you remember.
And it will be, I think, one of the more romantic Valentine's Day we've had in years. She's got to work all day, and the daughter has a 6:00 softball practice.
Hold on a second. Is the coach single or recently divorced? Is he
Coach
angry?
is married with, I think, 2 kids. I don't know if there are more than that.
Scheduling?
Well, he doesn't schedule the practice. The league schedule the practices.
Okay.
We have a problem with Fields. So you get your schedule of practices, and we got Friday at 6:00.
Well, then you cancel practice. It's Valentine's Day.
David, in the first meeting that we had with this coach, this is 10U softball. And I respect anybody that gives up their time to coach kids.
Right. For the
you have to have a lot of patience.
Right.
You have to, there's something to it. And any of you parents, non-parents that are coaching, thank you.
And you're making $1.38 an hour at the end of the
No,
day.
you're not even making that. It's costing you money to practice.
Gotcha.
I don't know any coaches that are making $1.38. They're probably spending $200-300. But when he's in his little diatribe about coaching the team and he throws out, I'm really competitive. I knew at that point there weren't going to be any practices canceled.
It's Valentine's night, man. It's under 10 softball. Come on. Do you know you're putting a lot of families in a predicament here?
David, we have not yet had a practice that is finished when the time says we are going to finish. He usually carries it about 10 minutes further. And when practices are ending sometimes at 9 p.m.,
whoa,
I'm the one parent going, think he's done yet? Oh, we're going to run the bases now. Tremendous. So he's coaching his rules, Valentine's Day practice.
Huh.
Wife said we should bring roadies and sit in the stands.
Does his wife attend practice? Because would I love to sit next to her Friday night and do some R&D.
I believe she's there. She's also got a function with the league, so they live for this stuff, David.
Okay. Well, I'd put it to a test. That's all I'm saying. I might drop my kid off with an announcement. Listen, we're going out to a romantic dinner
that we're going to have to get done in an hour and 15 minutes.
No. It's going to take however long it takes. Could you two drop her off at home? How about you take her home? We'll stop by when we're done. We should get there by about 11:30. We'll be there before midnight. What do you say? No? Would that make the point?
I like it.
No?
I like it.
Let's see if anybody else gets a chuckle out of that.
But I tried to help you earlier with Valentine's Day. David has nixed all of my gifts, particularly the scarf. I want all of you to get your wives scarves for Valentine's Day and let me know how it goes.
All of a sudden, we'll get these texts and these comments in the Twitch chat room. Well, you lost me as a listener. And not because of anything you said about sports. I followed your advice on Valentine's Day, and now I'm sleeping on a couch. Speaking of sleeping on the couch, did you see what the Steelers' Deshaun Elliott said about the possibility of Aaron Rodgers being the Steelers' quarterback?
I did. Please enlighten our audience on his comments about the possibility of Aaron Rodgers coming to Pittsburgh.
Well, I took it as Deshaun Elliott would want somebody else. Okay. There's a lot of ambiguity in what it is that he said in response to a post on X about, hey, your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers maybe being your quarterback next year. And, there's many different ways to take what he said. I'll just read it and you tell me your interpretation. Leave his ass at the retirement home. So how'd you take that?
I take it this way. If Aaron's a Pittsburgh Steeler, he ain't. That's how I take it.
Wow. Okay. And I know we'll get a lot of grief when we ask this question, but our poll question today, our Swamp Buggy Races poll question is your level of interest in watching the Daytona 500. Okay. I'm all in, not going to watch any of it. I'm going to watch a little. You do know there is an obvious Aaron Rodgers poll question. I mean, and one of the choices is, like, where do you see him playing or what type of team will he be on next year? A good one, B, a bad one. It's the only job he could get. C, he's done.
And I don't think B is a possibility. I think it's either a team he feels is a mediocre to good team that he can go somewhere with, or he's done. Like, I don't see Aaron Rodgers going to play for Tennessee.
I agree with that. If by chance the Giants said, hey, keep your house quarterback for us for the next year or two while we find the young guy in waiting, I think Aaron would say, no, I'm good.
I think Pittsburgh would interest him.
Yeah, I think Tomlin would really interest him. He has said that in the past.
I'm leaning C that he's not playing, though.
Miller and Moulton. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when, and at least one system play coming up.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that, quite frankly, saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and one replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement Or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Irish football, my wife prefers gift cards.
So there's finally a line on the Ole Miss South Carolina game.
Okay.
And it's a system play. So we have two tonight. Neither one to be excited about. I'm more excited about one than the other. The first system play looks like a setup. I mean, that is Vegas counting on a total letdown.
Nova?
Yeah.
1.5? Wow.
I mean, they're basically saying Nova's going to win.
Right.
And St. John's has won a bunch in a row and just had the best week that they've had in 20 years. And by the way, it's Rick Pitino's team against Kyle Neptune's. And we're supposed to take Nova?
So I think I've told you, David, I've got this couple who works out at the same time that I do.
Right.
They insist on
TV.
putting Fox News on live.
Right.
I've even asked them to turn the volume down, and they don't. So if I beat them there, I put on what I want to put on. I've let them put on Fox News. I've just asked to keep the volume down. I don't care if they have one TV on it. Now they had both TVs on Fox yesterday. I lift weights first, and then I do the treadmill. When I get on the treadmill, he's moved off of the elliptical and gone onto a bike. He turned off the one TV, but he kept the remote with him. Literally almost walked onto his treadmill, grabbed the remote, and turned the TV on and started cranking the volume on MSNBC.
Absolutely. It's not his TV.
Oh, I know. Sooner or later, I'm going to explode on him. Sooner or later, I'm going to make it uncomfortable for him to be in that room when I'm there.
Got my vote. You know, I would have done it already.
I know.
You're a much nicer person than I am. You should see me on planes, man, with overhead space. People, they don't want stuff near them. And I'm like, dude, this ain't your closet. This is all of our closets. We're jamming stuff in here.
I love that.
I try to egg on the flight attendants, in which I go, there's 2 backpacks up there. That's supposed to go underneath the seat.
Yep, exactly.
And they.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. John Forsland will be on our show tomorrow. The 4 nations face-off will have gotten underway. Canada and Sweden will have played. The U.S. will be getting ready to play Finland. We'll also talk a little NHL with the gentleman that we think is the best play-by-play man in hockey, John Forsland. He will join us tomorrow on Miller and Moulton.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1733. Georgia is founded by James Oglethorpe at the site of Savannah. Go Dogs, sick 'em. Not the University of Georgia, the state, actually. 1855, my alma mater, Michigan State University, was established. 1879, the first artificial ice rink in North America at Madison Square Garden. The NAACP forms today in 1909. The Beatles had their first performance ever at Carnegie Hall today in 1964. Their first concert in the U.S. There was such a demand for tickets that some extra seating was arranged surrounding the stage. David, tickets for the Beatles' first ever show ranged from $1.65 to $5.50.
Do you know that first visit to the States was like 15 days? They did all that they did. They were on Ed Sullivan, I think, 3 times during the time that they were in the States. They did their initial appearance. It went so well, he immediately rebooked them twice. They did concerts. They, hyped up what they were doing. 15 days they did it all in.
The band Rush released their album Moving Pictures today in 1981.
My first concert.
Really? Mine too.
That tour, Madison Square Garden.
Now, it was a little later for me. I think it was 83 when I saw them, their next album, but that was my first. I saw the Beach Boys at like a high school football field. I don't really count that. But the first time I was, because it wasn't really a concert. A concert has to have the smells of a concert, and outdoors at a high school football field didn't have that.
So Rush didn't have an opening act, and they went on right on time at 7:30. They played 2 hours and change. Well, they're playing at the Garden. You literally go downstairs and hit the train, and there was like a 10:00 something train, and one of its stops was our stop, and it was an express. Well, it took 24 minutes. Get off. I lived a mile and a half from the train station. My buddy was driving. I'm home before 11 o'clock. My mom on Friday nights, she didn't get home till 11. She gets home, I'm not home. She figures, well, of course he's not home. He's at the concert and what have you. So my mom's sitting up in the living room waiting for me to get home. I'm in bed, sound asleep. My mom's calling the New York City Police Department. She's calling security at Madison Square Garden. Okay, finally at like 3 a.m, she goes in the bedroom, and there I am in bed, sound asleep. She woke me up and started yelling at me. Okay? Because she had worked herself into such a panic.
She is special. She really is.
I didn't do anything wrong. I got home before you. Why didn't you check the bedroom?
Today in 82, Wayne Gretzky scores his 153rd point of the season, breaking an NHL record. It's February.
He was really good.
Groundhog Day opens across the U.S. today in 93.
I got to admit, I think it's grossly overrated as a movie.
Okay.
And I'm the only one who thinks that.
I think it's rated appropriately. I don't think it's a great all-timer, but it has its moments.
People like that movie, though. If you were to ask people to grade that movie, I think you get very few grades below a B.
Fair, and I would grade it a B. That's what I'd give it.
And to me, it was like a C-.
Marty Schottenheimer fired today as the coach of the San Diego Chargers in 2007.
Mark, what was their record that year?
14-2, right?
That is correct, Mark. They went 14-2, but the was it the Jets? Somebody beat them in the divisional round. They were one and done from the playoffs. And he got fired.
The Marvel superhero film Deadpool released today in 2016. And 2 years ago today, the Chiefs beat the Eagles 38-35. Abraham Lincoln, Charles Darwin, Lorne Greene, who now checks both boxes, dead and Canadian, Dom DiMaggio, Joe Garagiola, Bill Russell, and baseball coach Mike Martin would have all celebrated birthdays today. The pioneer of yacht rock, Michael McDonald, is 73. Chet Lemon is 70. Arsenio Hall, 69. And Robert Griffin III is 35. What did I miss, David?
Nothing, man. You're all the other stuff's not interesting.
That's kind of the way I looked at it.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Kentucky for the good today, where a woman in Kentucky had a hankering for some ice cream.
Okay.
I can relate to that.
Sure.
What I can't relate to is on the way to DQ for a blizzard, she stopped at the Shell station to get herself a scratcher. Something I wouldn't do. I would go directly to the ice cream. Do not stop. Do not collect $200 for passing go. But she did. And she scratched off her $20 ticket in her car. She scratched it from left to right. She thought I wanted my 20 back. Then I thought it was 100. Then I saw the comma. I noticed smaller zeros, and I knew it was the big one. She won $1 million.
Whoa!
She said she was so excited that she ended up canceling her ice cream trip. I don't know how. How do you cancel an ice cream trip?
I think I'd go and order something twice the size of what I was originally going to order and buy everyone's ice cream who was in there.
Blizzard's on me. For the bad, we go to Cape Coral, where on Saturday, an officer observed a truck with a taillight out, and the driver was swerving and struggling to maintain a lane. He activated his headlights to pull the car over. When he walked to the driver's side mirror, the truck took off. They gave chase. They got it to pull over again. It took off again. Finally, FHP was called into the scene, and they were able to pin the car down. The car was stolen from a family member. The driver didn't have a license and ended up with 16 charges in total.
Wow.
It would have been the ugly, except for this one. We go to good old San Carlos Park for the ugly, where a man riding his lawnmower on Friday destroyed multiple mailboxes along Robin Road. Neighbors are still in belief after witnessing the scene. One neighbor said, "It was absolutely disgusting, but so funny I could watch it 100 times." He hit a mailbox. He was apparently hammered. Hit several mailboxes. He left behind a Pittsburgh Steelers hat and a pair of sunglasses. Deputies are working to identify the individual responsible for the bizarre vandalism spree. That, David, is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, Wednesday, February the 12th, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Go to capecops.com, capecops.com, for information on jobs, including $10,000 for new officers being hired on at capecops.com.
And after they hire you, you could go get your ice cream.
I do love ice cream.
Every single NBA team is in action tonight. That's unusual. Very rarely is the whole league playing. 15 games tonight. Orlando's hosting Charlotte. The Heat are at OKC. Uh-oh. And the Heat are already below 500. The ESPN doubleheader, if you're interested, Wemby and De'Aaron Fox and the Spurs in Boston taking on the Celtics at 7. And then at 9:30, Golden State at Dallas. Those two teams separated by a half a game in the standings. Dallas has all kinds of injuries. Golden State's a 7.5-point favorite. Makes me wonder if Kyrie's even playing.
I believe Kyrie's playing, but they lost another big.
Right.
AD's out. So, yeah, they're in trouble.
This just in, Luka's with the Lakers.
Right. The only reason I'd be interested is to see if the fans chant or say anything. It's the only reason I'd have any interest in this game.
Think ESPN will cover it if they do?
No.
I think TNT would. Especially since it's the last year TNT covering the association. I mean, you know. All right. 2 system plays tonight. System went 1-3 last night. We're not crazy about the plays tonight, but it's a system. If you want to take the night off, okay. But, Mark, your favorite game is actually 30 minutes earlier. 6
o'clock start?
6 o'clock tonight on FS1. St. John's at Villanova. I would have thought Nova would be getting at least 5.5.
They should be.
For some reason, they're only getting 1.5.
Maybe after the UConn game, they're suspecting a letdown, David.
Best week that St. John's has had in over 20 years was last week. They got a nice winning streak going. Vegas is basically telling you it ends tonight. And then this game was off the board until the last hour. And I'm trying to find an injury or something. But Ole Miss, and they had that amazing comeback Saturday night. They were down 11 with under 3 minutes to go at LSU and scored the last 13 points of the game, including a layup at the buzzer to beat LSU by 2. But we had LSU in the points, so it worked. The system covered. Well, Mark, Ole Miss at South Carolina. South Carolina getting 4.5.
That's not enough either.
Are you sure? I'm just asking. I mean, are you sure?
That game should be 6.5. Vegas has caught on to our system. We're breaking the city.
Okay. It's possible. It's possible.
And the Four Nations gets going tonight.
8 o'clock, TNT, Canada and Sweden.
A reminder, Miller and Moulton brought to you in part by Game Day Men's Health. Call 239-427-3441. That's 239-427-3441 for their Bonita or Naples location, or go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Mention Miller and Moulton for 10% off your service. I would love that. I would have loved to have been San Carlos Park and watched a drunk guy in a lawnmower running over mailboxes. I think I would have just pulled over and started filming. Wouldn't have called anybody, wouldn't have done much about it. The neighbor walked out and said, I got this on film for you.
The FGCU women are home tonight, if anybody's interested. Aren't the Blades home tonight also? I know they're home all next week. But the FGCU women, remember, they started the year 0-2. Since then, they're 21-1. Oh, by the way. But men in action.
Everblades are on the road tonight.
Gotcha.
Next week, they're home.
So there you have it. That's what's going on.
Little of this, little of that. A lot of NBA, a lot of college hoop tonight. Lots of college hoop.
It's All-Star Week in the NBA, so they're jamming it in because they got a few games Thursday, and I think that's it. That's why everybody's playing tonight.
So a lot of back-to-backs for you gamblers. I would look at who's playing in back-to-back games if I were going to wager on the association tonight.
What's interesting is Sacramento and New Orleans play tonight and tomorrow night in New Orleans. Back-to-back games, same two teams, same place.
Sounds like the NHL of the olden days, David.
It sure does. So we're on Nova in South Carolina tonight. We're not excited about it, but the system is the system. John Forsland on Miller and Moulton tomorrow. Thanks for listening.
Miller and Moulton would like to thank the sponsors that quite frankly saved the show in 2024. Whether it was Floor Meisters, American Paint Supplies, Glass Doctor, Molly Maid, Cigar Bar, Sleep Treatment Direct, the Diamond District, and even the Cape Coral Police Department, thank you. We're hopeful of a great 2025, still needing sponsors, so reach out to Miller and Moulton via X at that Mark Miller or the David Moulton, or text us at 21,000. But Miller and Moulton says thank you to our sponsors and to you, our loyal listeners.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit CapeCops.com. That's CapeCops.com.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton